You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Good evening and welcome to Outside the Box, and let the games begin. Some interesting times that we're in right now, I'm sure. Yours truly, Kate of Gaia here. My map reference, as I like to call it, because I don't have a name. Simply applicable. Here on criticalmassradio.co.uk. Yeah, it's just a couple of recent little posts going down on Facebook here, and I will be sharing that letter again that I touched up a little bit and added a couple of things to it, and, it just didn't feel completely done, but I will share it tonight with you guys, and it's already set up in the email to go out. I don't know what happened last night. It's just when the show dropped, all I had was like beeping in my headset from Skype. So obviously the energy was a little bit too much for this physical realm to handle. Par for course. We're used to that, so it's all good. And for any shills that are tuned in, how much is your soul worth? Right, that's right. It's worthless because you don't have one. Yeah, it's part of the program, right? You see, Bioborgs, the only thing they understand is money. It's the only thing they go for, and why do you think they want to turn you into one of those anyway? Yeah, I went through, I got to tell you, if you get a chance to go through the movie Hercules, The Legend of, I think it's only a couple of years old. Anyway, beautiful portrayal of, what we're doing in this 12 labors of Hercules, if you will. Those that have the eyes to see it, hear it, and the ears to see it and hear it as well. Remember, it's a double cross. You got to see it both ways. But, a little note there. It looks like two of the top jokesters on the planet, Elizabeth Windsor and Jorge Bergoglio, up to their little tricks as usual, playing the world stage of, oh, look, we have little gifts for each other. They forgot to mention that those gifts that they're sharing back and forth were robbed from the people, you see, the ones that created it. I can't imagine, what was it? Somebody had posted it in Skype, thank you very much. I can't imagine that the Pope gave a stone orb, lapis lazuli, unless he was out in the mines and dug that up by himself, topped with a sharp cross of silver. Of course, he probably didn't go out and refine that himself and form that himself to the new baby. And wine, of course, he grew the grapes and pressed them and knew all about how to make wine, because that's what creators do. And all sorts of things. Betty didn't have a whole lot to do with that, instead just pilfered it. And, of course, that went to quantitative easing 2. Queen Elizabeth 2. Anyway, and she gave him 18 items. Well, thieving bitch. What do we got here? A basket with 2 types of honey that, of course, she went out to the beehives to collect all that herself and refine that. Bar more whiskey, of course, yeah, she did that too. Eggs, well, fuck, for all I know, she could have laid those. Sandringham soap, well, probably made from, I wouldn't go as far as to made from children murdered there. That was just a big hoax that they tried to pull in World War II as well, making soap from human flesh. Yeah, that was a good one. But anyway, what do we got here? Oh, and for those who want to call in the Skype, all you have to do is add BTR021 to your contacts and click on it. That'll bring you into the call if you want to get in here. Anyway, so I thought that was kind of funny. So these are, they talk about being sovereigns and all the rest of it. Here it says 2 sovereigns. There's nothing sovereign about these people. A sovereign doesn't steal. A sovereign isn't a thief, isn't a deceiver. A sovereign isn't one who goes around and shits all over those that do all the creating. A sovereign is most certainly not a ruler. A ruler is meant to keep things in a straight line, don't you know? There's nothing free about that. Anyway, it's just a big joke to me. And, there's going to be people out there, oh my God, look at that, and they'll go on to get on their knees and, hunk on their priest Bobo or, suck on the whore of Babylon's tits, Queen Babylon, all the rest of it. I'm just not playing the game anymore, not at this level. no, let the games begin. So there we go. And of course, her favorite breakfast is grilled sole on a bed of Popeye spinach, right? Popey. So there you go. It should tell you everything you need to know in allegorical style. Just spend a little time listening to Bill Donahue today as well. Love getting into that zone with him. And another great movie to get your head around is Wanted, and I posted that link last night. And I think the most important phrase in the entire movie is the last statement that gets made. It's probably about a minute worth of explanation at the very end, and sums it up very nicely about changing the world. What the fuck are you doing? Right? If you want to see how you are changing the world, you can check this out in real time. It's really simple. Just Google your own map reference, formerly referred to as a name, which it no longer is. And if you have any problems with, walking around with a tag that someone else put on you that you consent to be, knowing full well that it has been sold in a spiritual contract to the whores of Babylon, then feel free. Don't feel that you're strong enough to actually pick a name for yourself and decide to be that. Don't feel any need to actually be all grown up and do something as crazy as that. What will everybody think? What will all the other lemmings think and do? You should try doing it from the transgender perspective. It used to make me laugh when transgender people go out and change their name legally. Out of the frying pan into the fire. Love it. Anyway. I look at that the same way as I look at gays wanting to give up their purity of just being together to get the legal right to be married, so they can get the legal right to be enslaved and the legal right to take the blood drippings from the systems that they have been fighting against. It's so oxymoronic. It's mind blowing. So toss things in the mirror and have a look at them. But really, if you're that afraid to dare to give yourself your own name, that go run away. It is that simple, by the way. Because the minute you decide that you're not one thing, you're not one thing, right? You're all things. And that's the power of the choice that we all have. I just happen to make my choice. And, many of you know my story. It's been an ongoing bit of a drama for the last, 4 years anyway, for sure. So I really didn't get into this game until January 13th, 2010. I made my call to say, I'm done with this shit. I'm going to walk this course instead. The one of truth, by the way. And my deal was simple. I will stand at truth at all costs, regardless of consequence. And I did just ask to keep my family and others safe. That was all I was concerned with. And they are. They're so safe, indeed, that they don't give a fuck about me. And that's exactly what I didn't expect, but it's exactly what I did expect, too. Based on... guys, this is a very neutral contrast I'm sharing here. There's no emotion in this. I'm just trying to show you contrast. To take any of that charge that you may have on these things, where so-and-so did this and so-and-so did that, and just lose it, okay? You're stronger than that. Don't let them break you. Hell, they can't even bend me now. You see, the reason why they can't bend me is because I'm not standing in the storm. I am the storm. I'm the eye of the hurricane. And that's really what people need to be, is they have to be that sense of peace within the center of that hurricane. That we call it physical reality that goes on around us. Let me ask you this. If you were in a literal eye of a hurricane, would you follow the eye of the hurricane? Or would you go running into where all the palm trees and cars and bits of building and cows and everything else are flying around in a flurry, bits of metal and everything else? Would you walk into that explosion? And that's exactly what most of us do. We just can't wait to get involved in somebody else's storm. We can't wait to get involved in somebody else's nightmare. Book of Eli, once again, stay the course, not your concern. You need to be the eye of the hurricane. I had a really cool clue with my Mayan sign, and Kawak, duality Kawak. That's what my Mayan is. Kawak means storm, and it's a beautiful description of exactly how I have lived most of my life and how I choose to live, not to get caught up in the quagmires of other people's nightmares, and of course the system has done its damnedest to create as many storms around me as possible, ripping out every sense of support, every sense of concern that others may have. I know I've shared all of this stuff and made it very clear. It's like, fine, you want the possessions, knock yourself out. This weekend will be the last delivery to all Judases. I'm completely free and clear of it. And, that's yours. That's your bed. You can lie in it. And it's not like there wasn't any opportunity to, maybe pick up the phone and say, hey, how's it going? Are you alive? So obviously I'm dead, and I've already said that, and I'm cool with that. That's just another proof that I have went through my crucifixion, left for dead, and that's cool. And after you're left for dead, what do you have? Well, you only have you left, the real you. And that's the joy of this. That's where you don't get caught up in the dramas and the emotions of it. I've been there. You guys have heard me scream and rant and rave and all the rest of it. Right up to the point where it just kind of hit me. Where it really just hit me, and it was that beautiful moment of, nice contrast. That's where the victim moved out of victim status, caught in the grips of the former non-existent realities, to begin creating a new one called the Victor, or the vice of Troy field, getting a grip on the reality. And fundamentally, that's the main thing that I see throughout everything. Movies, be it The Passion of the Christ or this recent Hercules or Wanted or any of these things, they're all telling me the same story. And you'll always see a nice trinity of one female, two males, right? You'll always see that trinity working in full swing. There will always be two main males and one main female. Go ahead, look for yourself. You'll see it. It's quite simple. But that being said, where are we going here? Oh, that's right. It was the one I read the other night, Dear System Worshipping Whores of Babylon, You and Your Psychopathy, that one. That's the one I'm going to be... Oops, I put a comma. I meant to put an exclamation mark. Dear System Worshipping Whores of Babylon. There we go. I like to send things with a bit of a zeal and a zip and a, hey, how's it going? I still haven't decided what I'm going to put in the subject line. But anyway, there's probably about 40 lined up in the email already. I have my other hard drive here, so I have to access that for probably a couple of hundred more anyway. And I'm going to include the Australian government in there too, and a few other things. And I'm done with this nonsense, I draw the line in the sand. Anyone that's still working the legal side, thinking that they're going to have a remedy, I'm exercising all of you from my reality. Because all you're going to do when you're doing that is you're not only harming yourself, but you're making it possible for others to stay duped and be harmed likewise. So that's the greater responsibility we all have. That once you know the truth, once you stand in or see the truth and you don't stand in it, that's not a place that I would want to be, personally. And it's not that fine a line that we walk, guys. It's not. Because you know inherently in your heart. You know. You don't think this. You know it. You feel this. And when you know something to be wrong and you still do it, then you're just being a liar. And that's the lion within you. Right? That was the first labor of Hercules, to kill the lion of Nemea. And isn't it fun that you can rearrange that into I name, the lion of the name. That's the first thing you have to do. And as soon as you do that, that's when your labors really start to kick into gear. Fortunately, we're at a time right now where those labors just flip off like zits getting popped. It wasn't quite so easy a few years back. At least not from my experience, not from my observation. It's entirely up to you. that's a free will choice. You can choose to stand in truth and salvage your very soul and help others do that if that's your wish, to be a light for them. Again, you're not going to spoon feed truth into anybody's universe. All you can do is plant a seed and walk away. And if the seed takes, great. And if it doesn't, great. How many people in your reality do you know to be full of soul and spirit, and how many do you know that are just a bunch of bioborgs, just a bunch of mimicking meat sticks? I go back to the Gravity Falls cartoon series, and the biggest thing that came out of that was flashed every time on the opening credits was trust no one. And I take that completely to heart. And that's why I only trust my heart. And I've gotten better at it. When somebody's got a vested interest, you can feel it. When someone's clinging to you, looking for, savior motif that's been so well ingrained into us through the churches and the schools and all the rest of it. You know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. This is the joke of this. And here I am, once again, repeating the same things I always say. Stand in truth. It shall set you free. All the great masters said it. I took it literally. Probably the only thing in this universe that you should take literally. Because only then will you find the anagogic side of things and get on from there. But tell you what I'm going to do here, before I read this, I see Mike on the board. I'll crack that mic open and say hi, and then we'll get into having a bit of fun for a little bit more energy exposing of the fear porners. But this is going to be quite something. Lots of other stuff going on around the world, too. Another Chilean earthquakes, another flares and what have you. So things are ramping up nicely, boys and girls. So keep the pressure on. That's all we're doing right now is keeping pressure on. We've already got the game. Now we're just pushing them right off the board. So we have Mystified and Mike. I'll get you guys in, and then I'll do a little read of that. You and your psycho, what did I call it? You and your psychopathy. That's to the...
Aloha, hey, wholeness. Hey, Mr. Fudge.
Hey, Mike. We're rocking tonight.
Yeah, what's up?
I can feel it.
Oh. All the fuses are lit tonight, boys and girls. Yep. Oh, yeah, the day of reckoning is here, and I see it ramping up all around me. Don't let them pull you into their storms. Don't let them pull you into their nightmares.
Guy Fawkes had nothing on this.
Oh no, this he wanted the Tower of London. I want the planet.
Houses of Parliament.
Yeah, Houses of Parliament. Whatever, it's just a building. Me, I'll take the universe. Thank you. My reality. Yours, we'll all take it back. It's only yours to take or give away, and that's what we've been doing. Giving it away by our willful consent in ignorance of who and what we truly are. Yeah, it was interesting in the Wanted movie when the main character was getting the shit beat out of him, and they were asking him, "Who are you? Who are you?" Oh yeah, it's beautiful. You'll see the trials and tribulations. You'll see the things that you've been through, and then you will laugh. At least I know I did. I thought, yeah, got it. It's all good. So what else? What's up? What's up with you guys?
Yeah, not much. I was going to point out. I think it's probably better to wait until after you're reading. I was just going to say there was a video I watched of one of my earlier, I don't want to say heroes, but he was somebody that I went to a lot for information and one thing another, called the Anti-Terrorist.
Oh yeah,
He released a video and he was talking to the Kent Freeman Association or Freeman Movement or something like that, and it was surprising that he was actually encouraging people to carry on using the straw man, using the name, but in a different context than what, you know what I mean? I was like, oh God.
Still selling the same shit, are they?
His point was, you might need like electricity and gas and like put fuel in your car, pay your bills. So you do need this currency. That was his point. But I was just shaking my head thinking, God, I can't believe it. it's kind of like you think somebody's got a lot of the answers, and then you come across them later on when your perception's changed, and it's like, what's going on here? You know, it makes you completely look again.
Well, yeah, you know, here we are. I mean, who gets the gas? Who creates the machines to do that? Who creates the machines to transport it? And I can get into all of this. Look at all the individuals that are actually producing and creating all of this. I don't see too. I've never met a lawyer or a judge on a work site with a a carpenter's apron on. I've certainly never met a banker there, or someone who sells insurance, or someone who pushes paper around, someone who works in the bank, someone, start looking at what you're doing in terms of what you're doing with your life, and what are you actually producing, and are you actually parasiting your income off the backs of another that's producing something that's real? That's called creation. So it really does boil down to that. Now, I'd say the vast majority of people that are in these paper pushing jobs haven't got a clue as to the nature of what they're doing, so I give them a little pass on that one. But once people understand this, and I've talked to countless people and I've said this in the past too, and they turned around and literally within the day or next day, literally quit their jobs. I said, and that's what it means to stand in truth. That's what it means to throw your arms open wide and fall back into the universe. And the universe will, at that point, take care of you. Your helpers will show up. We had a beautiful example of that the other night. And this is exactly what I'm watching for when I'm listening to people when they come to the table or when they call me. I had a couple of phone calls today, and and I take such great joy in knowing that when people, I'm sure they pick up the phone and 226-971-9675, and they call it, and lo and behold, I answer the phone. It's quite funny, actually.
If you break it down as simply as possible, right? If there was 6 of us on an island, right, and where you had your hut had pineapple trees, and where mine, I was able to catch some fish, and Mike could get some bananas or something like that, what would we need currency for? Do you know what I mean? If there was only 6 people, would 5 of you all collect things and produce things, and then one person comes along and says, "Here, you can use my paper"? What would you do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, bing.
Yeah, there was someone that did a beautiful allegory about that. I think it was I read it or a video along the same lines, where someone had come as part of the group, decided to create a currency to trade with, and guys, seriously, I mean, that's exactly what the system is. You nailed it right there, Mystified. Totally nailed it. So anyway, I got 2 others going to jump in here. Then I'm going to read this. So don't keep me too long, guys, because I want to get this out tonight. It looks like Richie, and I'm wondering if this is Kevin or it might be Bob.
Yeah, hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, good. Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Oh, hey. It's a pleasure to introduce myself. I'm Bob Hartley on Facebook and on Skype, I think. And I'd just like to add into what you were saying before about how once you learn this information, your life transforms. And for me, when I started listening to this show, my life just immediately started transforming very, very quickly. Basically, events happened and very quickly, and I went from, like you were saying, piggybacking off others' creations, working within a slave system, within a slave job, and very quickly, all that sort of fell apart just immediately, like almost on autopilot. And now I'm starting my own company, selling superfoods, basically, with the intent that the healthy food will go into people's consciousness and expand their consciousness through eating these superfoods. So basically, once I learned this information, very, very quickly, my life went from being basically a parasite. Within a couple of weeks, I started to work to actually produce something and expand the consciousness of the planet.
Good. That's all it takes. Just takes you to change your mind. redirect things where they need to be, and become a creator instead of someone who's just going along to get along. And that's the vast majority of humanity. How many people do you know are willing to rock the boat? Of course, you guys being at this table are ones that have rocked the boats, and you've seen all the reactions of the people around you as a net result. And the lemmings don't.
But either you're a slave to creation, or you're the owner of all creation.
Yep.
And when you're a slave, you think, well, I still might have to use my name or a license or something to get something, where you own all creation and you recognize, no, I use whatever I want as I see fit.
Well, let's take the word own out and just say are. You are all creation. You are the reality you create. So, and that's not a make wrong. That's just I really like to keep that. A lot of these words.
Yep.
Oh yeah. We got some noise in the background. I'm not sure who it is.
Sounds like a highway.
Yeah, someone near a highway?
Richie, you driving in an open-top car?
I'm surfing on top of my car. I got my foot on the steering wheel.
Right on.
But, yeah, it might be the guy. Is that the guy that just come on, maybe?
Well, I'm not sure, but as soon as I hear a truck, I'll just check a couple of mics because, well, there's the answer anyway, guys. So when you're not talking, just mute out on your end or cover the phone or something. Much appreciated. Yeah. Otherwise, it gets really noisy over here, and yeah, you really don't want me going off on that one. So while I'm at it, let me just get this thing read out, and it's on Facebook. You guys, I'll get this. I don't know if I got this to Ninja or not. I might have, but anyway, this will be an updated version if I did, and she can get it onto the cateofgaia.wordpress.com website, and you can again feel free to, and don't worry about changing the map reference Kate of Gaia on it, because well, here's the thing, right? And I'm going to say this from a position of knowing who you are and what are you doing to change the world perspective. You Google Kate of Gaia, and you might see a few more results than Googling your next door neighbor, let's say. Okay, so I'm looking at that from a consciousness influence as the effect of the cause, and I've been pretty diligent at getting out there and pushing all that out, and this is what I'm trying to illustrate to people: the power and effect you have, and you can actually check and monitor your progress simply by Googling your own name. And you'll start to see the effects that you have of what you're creating to change the consciousness. So I really got a chuckle out of the last line of Wanted, and I was going to actually write the little speech down to read it, so I'll probably do that tomorrow. And it's quite something to watch a sniveling little accountant living in fear, taking pills for what do they call that? Panic attacks and all the rest of it, to go to the level that he did and complete his game the way he completed it. And he took control of his own life back, and that's what it boils down to. So here's one that's going out to Buckingham Palace, Sandringham, Windsor Castle, White House, House of Parliament in Ottawa. I'll hit the Parliament houses in Australia and a few other places. Of course, the Vatican, love hitting those right between the eyes. There's at least a dozen or more there that get it. And as I've always said, it doesn't matter if anyone there reads it, because anything sent with intent is already deemed contract upon sending, not receipt. Okay? So that's the power you all wield. So here we go. Tell you what, I'll mute you guys out while I'm doing this so that there is no potential of sound in the background. Because, yeah, a bit of hiss going on, too. So, and I'll open them back up as soon as I'm done. So, everybody ready to play? Let's play. Let's get her done. Okay, dear system-worshipping horrors of Babylon, you and your psychopathy by yours truly, Kate of Gaia. I find it fascinating watching your system and its delusional reality crumble down around you. You're beginning to see how powerless you truly are once those, like me, see through you for the ignorant, bought and paid for slaves that you are. In the same way the Roman legions fell, that was exactly the same system you serve today. Your impotence is exposed as well for all to see. Yes, you love to parade yourselves in true peacock fashion with your fancy robes, your clown suits, your 9mm penis extensions, your titles, offices, and repugnant elevated levels of self-impotence. Every day your masters and the foul intents you serve show their fear in grand fashion, ramping up to the same old diatribes, dragging out the same old empty Trojan horse says to no avail. You doubt this all you want, but perhaps a little time reading my writings on my website will clear your bought and paid for minds a little, where in truth it is my intent to wake the sleepiest aspects, or as specks, of humanity up. You that serve your dead crown are the sleepiest of all. Is it ironic that in the execution, lovely word, of your duties, owed crucifixions, not only are you killing your own souls, but the souls of the ones you claim to love, such as your children, families, and friends? What's funny as well is that you go about your daily programmed lives, inflicting pain and harm on others, especially those trying to snap you out of your delusions. I would suppose the hardest part for me is knowing that I'm dealing mostly with psychopaths, like you, who think this is a good and normal thing. Just a few questions that might shed some light on your psychopathy. Never an easy thing for those salvageable to accept, but try I will nonetheless. And by the way, if you answer yes to any of these questions, you're a certifiable psychopath with serial killer tendencies. Just a little heads up for you. LOL. Do you think that war, where the murder of people, uniformed or not, is a good idea just because some puppet master, banker type, or media talking head says it's a good thing? Does fleecing the creations of others to enable you to have a paycheck, in that you produce nothing anyway, welfare capitalist, justify the harms your willful ignorance or willful choice allows? In that you already know that any use of a legal name, Narmer Palette, look it up, Sleepy, a.k.a. your little cop notepads and paper you must flip open every time, create slaves of humanity, long ago shown and proven, are your continued choices of your profession to aid and abet slavery for your unseen masters okay with you? Does the fact that your jobs as elevated slaves, citizens, showing your disdain for all human life, including your own families, bother you enough to stop using psychotic justifiers bathed in human suffering, to actually look at the proofs surrounding these facts? Does the illusion of power and control over others using violence and threats of such, draped in titles and flags dripping with blood and suffering, keep you up at night? Or are you simply content to justify this psychopathy with phrases like, "I'm just doing my job," the same phrase that got many war criminals hanged? Are you content to spin out lies against others like the rumor mongers outlined in Revelations 18 and other tomes as your standard operating procedure to harm people like me, exposing your corruption and enslavement? The list of questions could go on endlessly and seamlessly, as I know you're aware. But really, why bother? You are branded, pronounced brain dead, like the cattle, chattel, sheep, you, E-W-E, you are. That's the trouble with psychopathy and egos, which are programmed reptilian brainstem bioborg, like yours, that are bought and paid for. You can't negotiate with insanity, especially those with an evil, soulless intent to begin with. Just like my interaction with a few of your well-trained dogs a couple of weeks back. I'm sure they were scratching their heads with their stand-down order that saw them run off with minimal effort on my part, because I know what rules yours and their minds. This is likely the first time they ever chatted with someone who uses Phoenician law. You know, the law of creation itself. Best that you catch up with the facts on my website, cateofgaia.wordpress.com. It's also funny that the same pair of fetchers showed up the next day when I was in the same place I was the night before. This is the difference between force and power, where force is the effect a place you live in, but not me. LOL. I mean, really, how many times do you have to be handed the same truth, deny it, and then even try to claim that you're somehow not a psycho and a parasite on humanity? Unfortunately for you, the masses are awakening to this very quickly. But then, once you know how to be cause over this reality, those that affect are, well, at effect, you. How neat is that? Seriously, how long do you think your supposed jobs are going to last in that we are beyond the critical mass now that is bringing your psychopathy to an end. Now imagine this for a minute. Imagine the roles are reversed and I am to be the one to judge you. How exciting is that? Would you wish for me to judge you and your actions in the same way that you have corrupted every truth to attack me and countless others to the point where you are now powerless? The real joke is you always were and always will be powerless with deceit as your only tool, and this truth is the fear that rules you. Always will. That's the trouble with your spell-casting masters, the scribes, Pharisees, and corrupters of truth, that you must get joinder or consent to a name, dripping in spiritual contract in the same way that a vampire cannot enter your house until you invite them in kind of thing. Your whole system is based on this fact of feigned authority and is solely dependent upon the masses never waking to this. Uh-oh, we're awake. LOL. Yep. You can sit there in your eensy little ivory towers made of glass and deny whatever it is you need to deny, but the facts remain. Ignorance of true law was, is, and never will be a defense for psychos like you, hell-bent on feeding on others just because you think you can. No, your royalty, your popes, your clergy, your presidents and prime ministers, etc., are only held in place by one teensy-weensy thing. People must be made to think they have power to get the spiritual consent and contract. While much of this is going over your ability to comprehend due to your psychosis, the good news is, myself and others get it, and your illusions and delusions of grandeur are toppling daily now. Tell me, what does it feel like reading this when you know in your hearts, if you have a soul, exactly what it is that I am saying is pure truth? The truth is, the time is coming swiftly, where all the harms you have wished upon me, my family, and countless others will be granted in your spiritual mirrors as per the golden rule, where I use the golden mean. Look up the Narmer palette to get a handle on the little books all cops carry and what they are and why. You'll have to do a little reading, assuming you can, to actually get a grip on this. What I do know is that most people in uniform and government jobs, etc., are simply duped into thinking what they're doing is right. But then that's the product of your well-designed schools, churches, and training to keep this insane reality chugging along. End of the line, kids. This train you're riding is going off a cliff, in the same way that lemmings do the same thing because everyone else is. Yep, psychotic, even by your delusion psychiatric definitions. Too funny. Tick-tock, tick-tock, is the sound of your control clocks running out of time. The best part is that I still wish you no harm. And why should I? What goes around comes around in perfect pendulum swings. I merely have to think this into existence now. And this is what your masters were always terrified of. Have a listen to my show that was briefly interrupted by these truths I'm sharing, March 14th, 2014, as per your calendar control system. I'll share a link at the bottom of this last reminder. Also, take another look at a 3-year-old plus video, Judge Bows to Sovereign, and then apply the same rules they used on Sesame Street, where one of these things is not like the others, that even a 5-year-old mentally retarded child could spot. No, you've grown fat and slothful on the preying on your fellow mankind, either through avoidance or simply because the psycho in you saw easy game to give you an elevated sense of self-importance and impotence, where I know some of you are fully aware of the rules of the game, like myself. I and countless millions now are sick of your sickness, your mental illnesses, your psychopathy, and are befuddled at how stupid must one be to continue this, or how insane and mentally ill you truly must be. I have looked in the empty eyes of some of you soul feeders, the empty biological computers, far too many times, and sickened by your complete lack of compassion. No, I'm not going to sit here and try to educate you, because your programs either run too deep, or your insanity makes any compassion for yourself and others unfathomable, so I won't even bother to try. That's your job. The choice is simple, and the choice is clear. Either you will be a villain or a hero. No one sits on the wall. Hell, you know what happened to Humpty, right? No, your child-raping pedophile masters in your governments, your churches, synagogues, mosques, palaces, police farces, militaries, and all manner of titles, be they king, queens, popes, bishops, presidents, prime mini-stars, and those you cannot see, want to make sure your deals with their devil stay in full force and effect. You are at the crossroads now. You have already signed your deal with the devil by being oathed to a dead crone, Kronos, crown corpse. You reinforce this with any and all id entity pay pers, where your only power over others rests in them being as stupid or evil as you. Day after day, you and your minions go out into the world reinforcing this narmer or namer trap in every country on this globe. You willfully premeditate spiritual murder with the intent to dupe someone dumb enough into being one of the names in your book of the dead. No, this spell is broken when no one has authority over me. Where I will never invite any of you vampires and werewolves into my house is clearly shown on March 14th and countless times before. The only thing more unyielding than you in my reality is me. But then you already know this. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. The real irony here is that I am still trying to help you awaken to your evil ways, if that is or was ever even possible. You have gathered quite the collection of karmic retribution to date, and that's only what I have witnessed, never mind the countless others you have screwed over in this one single lifetime. Every wrong you have done and continue to do must be paid for in full. Such is the way of the common with my law. Yep, you create your own laws within, and those that make the laws must obey them. And I'm not talking about the mindless psychobabble in your legal books of the dead. Here's where I get to play the mirror role of Pontius Pilate and simply wash my hands of you and cast you to the mobs you have been preying on, because honestly, I've done enough to awaken your feeble minds, and it's up to you to sort yourselves out. Regardless, what you don't fix, the universe will fix for you. Fact. Look, Mom, no hands, no wish of harm, no need to, since your own actions of past, present, and future in the infinite moment of now has you judging yourself anyway. In short, sucks to be you. The allegory of the crucifixion shows a thief on either side of truth, one repentant, one mocking, one who accepted responsibility for their crimes. Only one of those two joined in the light of truth, and as I see it, it sure isn't any of you, so enjoy your willfully chosen fate. Even as I write these things, these little heads up to your psychopathy, I ask myself why I even bother. But then the law of truth, law of verily, truth and love, unconditionally is the only thing that motivates me, knowing it's costing you your soul, if you have one, and I'd sure hope you do the same for me. As for the mindless, soulless meat-stick bioborgs, nothing there to salvage, so nothing lost anyway. Poof, and they're gone. I spend every waking moment focused on taking your false idol towers down. So let's say all your attempts to destroy my family and my life only served as motivation. No amount of your created hate, either by you or those scared into believing you're shite, will make my infinite and immortal soul buckle. You have tried at gunpoint and via kidnapping, etc., and you have failed. The good news is you know this now as I do. Those of you that really know are the ones who can feel their own created terror their own created terror within. Seriously, how does one convey truth to someone who is either a willing psychotic like you, or someone who is so deeply programmed by their slavery system, too stupid and ignorant to even look? You and your ilk have duped innocent souls for far too long, and your time is up. It's written in your stars, silly. No, I harbor no ill will towards you or any of your psychotic kin or masters, because you've already sealed your fate, and your deal with the devil contracts are now due anyway. So I'm just going to sit back and watch you self-destruct now, or change your fates. What will you do when your fate is in the hands of beings like me and others? Whose money will you steal when money no longer controls the masses? Who will feed you, build your homes, or take you in, knowing what you have done to them and why? Your media spin dogs are spinning out already. Your master's false flag attempts are exposed before they're even conceived now. Humanity is tired of your insane wars and psychosis of control mindsets. You have a pretty ugly mirror to look into, but now you can call it your crystal ball, where your future is secured by the mirror of harmful actions shining brightly in your own created reflection, in the image of your God you created. I honestly hope you're up to the test. Yep, keep a very close eye on me, dear psychos, because I want you to see me laugh. I want you to begin your long trek home with my laughter ringing in your ears. I wonder what a fully aware and conscious slug thinks of as a boot comes down to crush it in the same way that your boots came down on the innocence of countless ages. As I said before and will say again, to appease your egotistical angers and fears that I wish you no harm, where you have wished more harm on yourselves than I could ever bear to imagine. What ye have sown, so shall ye reap. You are your own grime reapers, after all, eh? Time to set the record straight, my dear lost psychos, because the truth is, the record will set you straight anyway, no fuss, no muss. You see, that's what fear tastes like. And since your minds are great at inflicting it, you should have no problem imagining what you have earned by and of your choices and actions. Just like Judas, who tried to return the silver he sold out the truth for. I won't take back what you have stolen. Consider all you and your minions have stolen from me and others as your now unreturnable 30 pieces of silver. You have cast lots, and look what you've won behind door number wrong. In closing, may the universe be as merciful on you as you have been on others. Mercy me indeed, LOL. Moi en love, me. P.S. Just like in mythology, Kronos was destroyed by his own children, the children, thoughts, and acts he created. In the same way that the ideas you give birth to, act in, and nurture are the very children that will destroy you. You are the source and intent, mother and father of your thoughts, child. Become as Oedipus Rex incest, incesti, intax crucified. The brighter of you will figure that out, maybe. But then how many of you know how to understand the real definitions? You know how to reach me, but like always, you tremble in fear where your silence seals your own fate now. No one is coming to save you. They're coming to judge. And methinks will find you lacking. Hey, and like your masters made clear their own fear, if but one shall awaken, we are doomed. Well, here I am. Just like that.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, super.
You know, I got this urge to upload the, the Scorpion song, Here I Am, rocking like a hurricane. Yeah. I'll direct that symphony, baby.
Let me just jump back to that, right, Kate? So, we're on a plane, right, and it's crashed, and we're on an island, okay? And Kate's built a shack, and she's got a shitload of grapes, right? Mike's there. His place has got loads of coconuts, right? I've got a pineapples, right? Richie's got bananas, Ninja's got pears, and Mark's got fish, right? We've all got a little shack.
But who's got the still?
We've all put an energy into collecting these things and getting them, right? And then some person comes up and says, I'm going to be the government, give me half of your stuff, and I'm going to tell you what to do. How... Can you make it any simpler than that?
Yeah, welcome to society.
Yeah, exactly.
I can only imagine...
If you don't give me it, I'm going to hit you.
Yeah, and I can see the whole crew taking that so-and-so and launching them off the island. Real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'll tell you,
everything's so good.
Yeah, well, only a soulless entity would even deem that, right? And that's exactly what's happened to the most beautiful aspects of humanity. And no more,
Wait a second, Clint, I wasn't clear enough. I won't hit you. I'll get that guy over there to hit you.
Yeah.
Exactly. There you go.
Some crazy.
You've got the coconuts.
Wait, a little bit more. There's usually three guys involved. I'll get that guy to tell you to hit him. So yeah, first I got to give the orders to someone to give the orders to you to hit the guy. I got to be one step removed at least from the order taker, the enforcers of my bullshit.
Yeah. Can you imagine if you had to sit down and say, right, I'm going to explain what a limited liability is to you and why I'm not responsible for my actions.
Hey, am I unmuted?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're there, Richie.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I entertain those thoughts too. Like you got one guy telling like 100,000 people, okay, we're gonna go over to this part of the country and we're gonna desecrate this area. Well, hey, I'd raise my hand and say, hey, sir, I got an idea. Why don't we shoot you and then we can all go home? Right? You got one guy trying to lead a whole wolf pack of people that don't know who they are. But you know what, too, guys, I think of too is, right, I mean, we were up against all odds. We had everything our back was to the wall. When we were born into this world, right, we were born amongst people who had no idea who they are, you know. So think of the odds, what we had to go through to get here. All the, like you say, those trials and tribulations of scratching our head and just knowing something's just not quite right. And we stood up to that. We stood up to our own mind and questioning ourselves, you know. And we said, no, this isn't fucking right. And then as we grow into that, these, you know, we spring up into the place where we're at now, and we're right on track. We're right on cue, right? Timing is everything, and what I hear is more than a friggin' clue. And, you know, putting these pieces to this puzzle together, we got to become completely fucking unglued, you know. And those guys, man, that came on last night, my brothers, our ancestors, I like that. Ancestors, that's right. This spiritual frequency of our spirit, man, those guys, kudos to them, hats off, man. They walk the walk and they talk the talk. And that was beautiful, man. Those guys threw some... They hooked some jumper cables up to my spirit, man. Jumps
all right.
You know.
I'm gonna bust that word. Hang on, Richie. I'm gonna bust that word apart because the energy that still, I felt the energy still contained in it. Ancestors is a very careful word.
Taurus. I got the Taurus field.
Well, yeah, ancestors, which is goddess, on, cest, tax, toroidals, Taurus creation fields. Yeah. So let's take that and put it in the mirror just so people understand what it is. Ancestors is not, to me, is not my bloodline or anything that came out of the DNA, because that's the trap, right? That's how you, if you mourn the dead, you are the dead. That's how it works. So this is about getting right back to the source. So now it becomes the on, goddess, say, creation, himself, herself, itself, mine, and Taurus field. See how they're completely opposite? One takes your soul and one gives it back. And that's the polarized nature of language. And that is the irony of I have to say, the vast majority of anyone that speaks English, they haven't got a clue as to what they're saying. It sounds normal. We can communicate and get our literal days done, but you see, the whole notion of speech is pure creation itself. It is coming from the silence of within with that intent, and if someone owns the intent of the word, then that's what gets created, and a literal bullshit reality gets, you know, stored up around you. You know, it's like when people get caught up in the whole literal physical thing, you know, trying to prove this and prove that. It's just psychobabble to me. Right, because as I'm listening, the way I listen, it's people haven't got a clue as to what they're saying, let alone what they're trying to defend in terms of look how smart I am, Bill. Which is I'll put it in the mirror and I'll say, look how retardedly programmed you are, Bill. Right, you're in Dumbville, right? I know, I was there. You know.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's easy to see it, you know. So anyway, it's just, you know, just a few thoughts on that.
Yeah. And the intent, and too, and Janet too. I didn't know. So that's it for me. Like in this respect, and Janet too. You travel without any license plate. I didn't know that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So you're walking the walk. That's
I don't have any tags or
walking the walk.
Just walking the bridge walker. Yeah, it's really good. I love being alive.
Isn't it great? And like you said, why don't you remind everybody the other day with Mr. Copman? Actually, Mary's Rainbow, she does the same thing too, right? So.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Why don't you share your little story the other day of that experience with Mr. Man, Deputy Donut, clown suit wearer, 9mm penis extension boy?
Oh, me?
No, Janet.
Janet,
when I was at the library? Oh, yeah. Well, this is where I do my research and listen to the show usually, and I was just parked there, and he pulled up and parked right by me, and I was like, I had the twins with me, and so I just kept doing what I was doing, and he kept looking over at me, and so I thought, well, this is going to be, I am me, I live here, and anyway, Jaden had to go to the bathroom, and she didn't want to go in the library, so I said, okay, well, we'll go then. So I just pulled right in front of him and just drove on by. He didn't do a thing.
No, because they can't. That's the power of you. You see, when people finally get
this...
It
felt really good.
Oh, yeah. When people finally get this, they won't worry about their plate renewals that tells them that they're a tax-paying slave and owned by a system as a master. They won't worry about going out and making sure they follow all the ridiculous little money-grabbing guidelines that are bathed in bullshit. That's just the way the system works. Sorry. You won't worry about stupid things like insurance because you're not planning. You have a sure mind that the universe has you, so there are no accidents. You see, this is the whole bullshit scam that people have bought into. Unsure minds, well, that's what insurance means. Unsure mind, ent. In meaning not sure minds. And it's all hidden in the phonics. Once you start breaking it apart, it's a joke. What are you agreeing with? And this is the thing. If you are agreeing with something in thought, then you are creating it in your reality. If you are agreeing to be part of a system, then you are a cyst. You are, a little zit that gets popped. And you will get bled. You'll get squeezed until there's blood. And that's how it works. And, humanity as a whole is quite content slaving itself to death lifetime after lifetime for table scraps. And all the most beautiful creations come from the spiritual side of us. That is the side that these other Bioborg meat sticks don't have. And they're banking on getting our spiritual contract so that they can control that. And if you've given it up by willful consent to say, hey, no problem, vampire and werewolf, come on in, they will feed on you. They will strip the flesh from you, and they will suck your blood dry spiritually. And you will keep going on this treadmill, recycle, respirit harvesting in the phi cycle and all of your creative F phi, sacred geometry, psi, spirit. That's the physical creations of spirit harvest in the physical or physical reality. And as long as you're okay with that, then just keep doing what you've always been doing. Go about your day-to-day mundacity and don't bitch. Because you are doing it willfully. Because you haven't got a claim of ignorance any longer, because I just told you. And I've proven this time and time and time again. Janet just gave another story of no plates, no tags, no VINs, no nothing. Driving right past the clown boys, and they can't do fuck all. That's you guys heard me live on air. Same situation. Only difference is I like to think I'm a bit snottier. I like leaving expired tags on the car just to make sure they know it's expired. The dead thing is expired, right? And that's also to let everybody else know there. If you don't renew the plates, you're no longer in their jurisdiction. If you renew your plates, your registrations, what you're saying is, go ahead and attack me, and that's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I'm playing with them. Because I got the, like I said, my other ride's a bike, and it's got a picture of a bike. I got to have fun with it. I got to, because I get into those...
Riding that bike.
Yeah, I get into those serious, sincere moments, you know what I'm saying, where I'm basically just disciplining myself into that area. But yeah, when everything's all said and done, I got to just friggin' laugh, right? And we all experience the same thing. I know we do. But see, that's the thing, Janet, right? She's a lion, right? You sound like you're a little kitten, but inside you got a lion roaring in there to be able to do what you do. Absolutely.
I just like being alive, Richie. I'm tired of going along to get along, and it's just bullshit. And
right.
It's so crystal clear. And that one song by the Bee Gees, The Joke Was on Me. I just keep hearing that song.
And you're changing,
when I finally
Janet.
died, the whole world started living, and that's right. I died, man. I'm here.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yep. That's cool.
I
and
love
you're
all
changing.
you guys. You guys help me so much.
Oh yeah, we do it together. We're walking our path, but we're walking the same path. We're just not in the same. That we're on the same. We got the ley lines connecting. We're connecting the ley lines here. This energy vortex, and that's the thing is like what we say, what Kate says, and what's dawning on us, like on a simultaneous level here is that we change. You doing what you're doing changes consciousness, you know. And people, that's why I say, like, those guys that came in last night, man, I'm the fucking witness, they said. I'm the witness. Judge didn't know what to do. Then his brother stood up and said, he's the witness. You know? I mean, I was like, all right, I was in that courtroom. I'd be standing up saying, I'm the witness, too.
Yeah.
Okay, now, guys, hang on. This is the hurricane that I talk about, all right? Remember this. It didn't matter what they were saying. They knew who they were. This is about knowing yourself, not knowing the catchphrases to use. This is the kind of the point I've been trying to make. And this is why things like that work for them, and when Santo said it, it didn't.
Yeah.
Okay? There's a difference. It's when you walk in like with your own power. That's what you exude. If you were standing in fear, in any way, shape, or form. This is one of the reasons why I've been trying to make this crystal clear about the pressure that Santo has been under.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. So I'm here to balance this. I'm not here to create hurricanes, guys. I painted myself as the target. Because I can handle it. Because I know what's going on here. I know the play that's being made on them.
Right.
You know, who was it? Mystified, you'd mentioned about the... what's that guy's name? The something terrorist?
The anti-terrorist, yeah.
Yeah, the
He was
anti-terrorist.
one of the early prophets.
Yeah, you know that worked great in terms of awakening. But if this guy's still selling the same bullshit, then it's just that it's still COINTELPRO to me. He's got a great voice too, though. I love his voice. But
yeah, he's awesome.
Voice
at one level,
right? And I mean that's great for entry level. But we're so far beyond all of that nonsense now, and why for me it's intolerable at this table.
Absolutely.
It's like sitting there with a bucket of puke in front of you and a spoon. No thanks.
Want some of this? Yeah.
I'll pass that over to the Alex Jones table, okay? They love that shit. Oh, they just gobble that stuff up.
It's the last table. Why this is the last table, man. This is the last place you go to really have a meal. This is it. This is the last
supper.
This is
the last
supper.
Okay. And I don't know what the allegory in here is, but I'll share it. When I was younger, it was late at night, and I was walking through a drive-through, and they wouldn't serve me because I wasn't in a car. The restaurant, the fast food joint was Jack in the Box, and of course I was outside the box, but I wasn't in the box in a car, so I couldn't get any food.
Jack in the Box, I like that. That's what we were. We were a Jack in the Box. Now we sprung loose from that friggin'.
Yeah, maybe, you know what you should have done, Mike, is you should have went round to the dumpster and grabbed one of their boxes and painted 4 wheels, put it up around you, and then knocked it over.
Not a car. It's like a Flintstone car.
Yeah.
But I am a car.
Do you see? Look at that, in a drive-through window. Look how programmed these meat sticks are.
You should have drove through the window. Drive through the window. Well, it said to drive through the window.
But I was so gutted, at that moment. I was just like, yay, we're going to get some food, because they wouldn't let us inside. And they wouldn't give it to me. There was no one around. They couldn't, it was just hilarious, actually.
Well, it's retarded. I mean, what, do they take all the plate numbers to add to the receipt? Or, look at how fucking slave-minded humanity is. How mindless and dumb humanity is. All the little rules, all the fear, all the I better ask for permission to go to the bathroom. And that's what every adult does. What, you need permission to get in your car, turn the key and whatever? I'm good with that. I just do it, you know? It's like when that cop asked me about, is this your car? And I said, yeah, I have the key. Well, I can see that. I'm good. Fucking, you're observant, aren't you? Moron. Car's running, for fuck's sake.
Does it
we
run?
Probably had more.
So you're not, I don't know. I haven't seen its shoes yet.
Yeah. So you're not going to identify? No, thanks. You can stay in your dead world. I'm cool. Have a nice night. Bye. I wish you no harm. Got a show to do here. Fuck off. Run away! Run away! Could you hear the coconuts clapping together? Like that, you know? It's kind of funny, eh? Bunch of meat sticks. But anyway, it's all in fun, guys. It's all in fun.
They don't want to know who you are. They want to know who you are not. See, that's the irony of this whole thing.
Well, they can't get their treats until they get the armor pallet filled. And that is the spirit. That's a spiritual connection. Remember this, guys. I really do my utmost to make sure that I keep everything out of the physical. I need you in the anagogic to see these things, because until you do, it will still be a very literal physical reality that still won't sink into the true nature of the spiritual power you possess. Mm-hmm. Like I said, you know, in the physical, you can talk about, well, don't let them break you. Well, they can't even bend me. And that's where I am, and that's where I'm going to be. You know, whatever the universe has in mind for me is whatever the universe has in mind for me. In this game, the cab driver has the wheel. And I'm at that point where, I got to tell you, I think the whole game is about, once you've had enough of this particular game, you move on to the next. And I don't know about you, but this game has gotten so boring. Mm-hmm. Mindless and boring, you know?
Oh. Fuck. We're going to step it up a level.
That's already.
And you know what's beautiful? Oh yeah. Well, make it more exciting. But see, you're good. See, with the anagogic and using what do you call it there? But anyways, well, I'll think of the word. But see, you're good at expressing that. See, I can hear it. I'm not speaking for everyone else, but obviously, I'm sure there's one. They can hear that. I can hear it with my ears, with your voice. But for me to express it in the way that you do, that's what gets like. That's what I was trying to explain to you. Like,
I have the viewpoint of speaking to spirit. Whether it's an ability or not, it's irrelevant. It's just what I'm trying to show people is beyond what the physical eyes have accepted in this blinding sound called light. Mm-hmm. The light has deafened us, and this is how all of this is created. It's all created through sound, and that vibration is the core essence of you. And that which we agree to and speak to is what we create. And these monkeys that are, that have been preying on humanity for who knows how long, they're done. They are fucking toast. I don't know about you, but the whole idea of this schlockfest in Rome with Liz and Jorge is a fucking. It's such a sick, retarded joke. A couple of the biggest thieves on the planet sitting around, and they got all the media, and oh my God, there's all the fuck off. What do they produce?
Really strange.
What do they produce? Nothing. All they do, they produce pain, suffering, theft. But here's what I'm going to hand out to all of them right now. All of that is the 30 pieces of silver, Judas, that you cannot return now. Your lot is cast. You cast lots for us? Well, your lot is now cast for you. And what happens when you turn back and look? Well, Lot became a pillar of salt. And that's all. Yep. That's all they are to me. Yeah. I would wish it otherwise, but then I won't trespass in free will choice. It's like I said in that little note that I'm sending out. It's your call. I'm done. Conscience is done here. Hands are washed of your nonsense. Go to the mobs that you that you want it to harm and control. You know, go to your paper systems, go to your paper banks, go to your delusion of money and all the rest of it. You know, I have been long weary of trying to even explain what money is, and people keep focused on it and as some sort of a median between spiritual and physical, and it's not. That's just the distraction. You see, the system isn't interested in the money. Not interested in that at all. All those that control the system want is your agreement that it somehow has value, and with that agreement alone, your soul is owned. And the joy of this is you can take that very same agreement and become an anti-agreement, where it's like, I know that it's the pure spiritual essence that has been raped, and everything that I pass through into this system is purified. If you want to put an allegory to it, you can call it the blood of Christ, washing and touching everything. Well, you saw in the Passion of the Christ what happened to the Roman soldier when he got sprayed with blood. He suddenly awoke. And that's exactly what I do with any paper stuff that I put into the system. When it touches other paper, it's the blood. So that if anyone touches it, they are touched with that truth on a spiritual level. I just use the physical as that's my physical median to diffuse and destroy the original intent. And if they're going to use the money unwittingly, thinking it has value, well, there's already an agreement to it. So there's the key that locked them in is the one that unlocks it as well. So if they agree that there's value in it because of what it represents in the physical sense, then they also in turn must agree that it has value in the spiritual, whether they're aware of it or not. And that's the game I play, because I look for all the things that people are unaware of, and I put those into the consciousness, and I put them in through physical means. I transmute everything. Anything that touches me is transmuted instantly. That's the intent behind it. And that's how I see money. You know, we reclaim the spirit was trapped in it, so we reclaim it using the exact same technique. Those that make the rules must obey them. So they made the rules that it was a spirit enslavement. Well, then it also must be in turn a spiritual freedom. It just depends on the intent with which it's used, how it's created. And of course, like I said, the blood, that's the blood spraying on everyone that touches any of that paper, and any paper that it touches and goes through is a truth blood virus going through cash registers or wherever the hell it goes. I don't care. I just get it out as quick as I can.
Right. Yeah, Kate, I've had this. I've worked in some places, and I was like, everything that goes through my hands, it's got. You want my DNA? Now my DNA is on this, and guess what? It's transcending and transforming all who.
Whoa. Ducked out, Mike.
One sec, checking the board, see if we lost him. No, still there. I don't know what happened.
Hey, I just want to say real quick once he jumps on, I'll zip it. But Mystified, I liked what you said as you're going back to listening to people that people had listened to before. Now that your consciousness has shifted into this new knowing, you know what I'm saying? Is we're at a different level, seeing through that, you know, and you know, and that's exactly what's happening. That's why there's going to be more and more people tuning in to hear. Especially the ones like that guy that just called, the guy that was starting his own business or whatever, and he's putting the intent into what it is he's doing, and that's why I guarantee you, Kate, I know that this voice is we stand in this truth and walk the walk and talk the talk, and I thought the same thing with the pillar of salt. When they looked back, they were looking back at their effects. They bowed down. They caved in. See, that's the thing is I'm not, and I know many people at this table and others listening, you know, to not bow down, to not back down, to hold that light, you know, because that's the thing that's going to friggin' shapeshift the consciousness. And by doing that, you know, knowing that it will, because we are intimately and ultimately connected, you know, and that's what we're battling with on a level is feeling the effects of them, right? Because we're connected, but we found a higher grounds, So, like you said, my house is built on it's fucking ground right into a rock foundation, and the roots have strapped not only around this world. You know what I'm saying? I have not shaken loose, and that's the ticket right there, is just knowing that, you know, and absolutely, I know there's going to be people. I guarantee it. There's going to be people on the highest of highest levels, so-called, like tuning in and listening.
I already know they do.
Yeah, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Bob again, the guy who studies our business. How you going? Like back to the intent with my what I'm doing. Basically, it's I know, like through my logo and everything I'm using, I know that the people who will pick this up, the people who will eat this food, are people who, like you guys, and I just know that you will see it and know it for what it is. It's like if you go to a market, for example, and you can just see and feel the difference when it's somebody who's after money, and when it's somebody who's actually trying to, not interested in money at all, but interested in eliminating the whore of Babylon by raising the consciousness past that level of ignorance of the whore of Babylon system. Basically, the intent is so important, and if we start to actually have our actions entirely revolve around raising the consciousness, as I know all you guys basically are doing, then that's what will work. If we have that intent, we don't even have to do anything. The universe, like Kate always says, the universe will make everything happen for you, and that's exactly what happened for me. All I did was basically get right in the whore's face. I got right in the face of a couple of police and told them they were aiding and abetting fraud, and basically that just got the dominoes rolling, got the dominoes falling, and everything was just taken care of. The universe is just, taking care of me 100% with 100% confidence. And money's just taking a back seat now. Money just, it doesn't really matter. It's just like Kate says, it's just create what you need, and with that intention of creating what you need, and it is created.
Tuning into the show, that's where your consciousness, that's when you began to shift, huh? Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Basically, I was already riding a motorcycle with no, it wasn't registered, it wasn't re-registered, because I'd already picked up things from other commentators before I found Kate. I think Santos actually, and I thought, well, why am I paying all this money to the so-called authorities to freely travel? But what happened when I got in the whore's face and told them that they're aiding and abetting fraud by asking this poor woman for her license, the system cut me from it. I didn't have to do anything. They went and found my motorcycle because they wanted to find out who this guy is, and he's obviously some kind of thought criminal, or who's this guy to point out that we're criminals. And they went and found the motorbike, and they took the plates off for me. But you know what I did after that? Because I've been listening to Kate and you guys talk about reality and the truth. And I went, fine, great. I shouldn't have had those plates anyway, because it was purporting that I was a part of the system when really I was trying to break from it. And then
they will help take. They will help take you out of the. They will help take you out of the system, and just say thanks, appreciate it, saves me the bother.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's it. It was the greatest. I was like, beautiful, saves me taking it off. These guys are working for the truth already. Thanks very much. And then on New Year's Eve of 2012, I was riding to my slave job actually, and that very cop who took off the number plate pulled me over, and this is I've been wanting to tell you guys this for a while, but they tried to get a name and everything, and I told them I was was Bob, which is, what people call me, and my dad's name is Peter. And, I shouldn't have even given him that information. I shouldn't have even entered into a conversation like Kate
3 months ago.
Day,
yeah.
And basically, that what happened was they handcuffed me and tried to intimidate to get a name out of me. And they eventually, my hands were bound. It felt like the system was the whore of Babylon, the Queen of England, or whatever you want to call it, was grabbing me by the wrists. And then after a little while, they eventually, decided that they couldn't really do anything with me that day because I didn't have a license with me or anything. So then they basically, I felt the whore let go of me. I felt when they undid those handcuffs, it was like the whore of Babylon saying, oh, fine, just get out of my sight, go, And from there, I actually, because of that, I was late for work into my slave job where I was a parasite, which led to me losing that job because I was late on New Year's Eve. And now I've been free, and now I'm starting to actually use my intention to do what I've wanted to do for a long time, which is essentially be the shaman of a tribe, which is to be the man providing the powders and substances which raise the consciousness and make people healthy. And I just know that this is this is my part in the great work that we're participating, which is bringing in the new age.
Well, here's a question for you. Are you having fun?
Yeah.
And
it resonates with you, man. That's beautiful. That's the thing, is we got to walk that path,
Yeah. I just want to jump in here. I've been hit with a few questions, and this one is a good one from Charisma. What did she say? But Judas tried to make amends. So he realized it, and it was way too late, but he got it. So the quick question to me was, we know that Judas fucked up, but he did get it. Should that not stand for something? Well, yeah, absolutely, but don't take this too literally. Start seeing the allegories deeper than just on the surface, right? What the Judas represents is the hanged man. Now, Judas did make amends at the end of a rope, and that's the allegory of realizing what one has done, and effectively everyone that has been in the system, myself included, has been the Judas. And we all have to be hanged spiritually, in terms of going through that. Not only do you go through the crucifixion, you go through the hanging as well. Remember, this is a singularity we're dealing with, and only in the allegory, the only one that Christ could trust enough to betray him was his most trusted of all, Judas. And that's what you'll find in your own lives. You'll find those that you have trusted the most were the ones that betrayed you the most. And I've got a fairly lengthy list of people. And for that, I'm extremely grateful, because they get the opportunity now, if they see it, to make their own amends. See, what they've done is we've all passed through the Judas first to get to the Christ. Okay? So what they have left to do now is to make amends. With me, allegorically and anagogically handing back the 30 pieces of silver to each and every one of these. Take the possessions. They are all yours, and they are non-returnable, non-refundable. You have your lot. You have cast your lot. Now it will be up to you to work through that. You see, you and only you can be the one to make amends towards another. And that is, when you get to the point of where Judas did by hanging himself, that's exactly the spiritual point you will get to, realizing that you have fucked somebody over. And then it hits you. And then you start thinking, well, gosh, would I want that to happen to me? This is where the self, only you can judge yourself. You see, the children that is created in God's image, you are all creator. And the children are the thoughts you have, and the actions give birth to those thoughts. So you could have a child that you think into existence that is one of theft and stealing and conniving and backstabbing. Or you can have a child that once you get to the right place and you're actually dealing with the bride and the bridegroom allegorically, which is the right hemisphere, the pure thoughts, where the children become the spirit breaths of creation, the roses that get planted in the cane field, that finally outgrows, that's your Garden of Eden now, that outgrows any of the weeds or the shitty bastard children called thoughts, bad thoughts that we have been creating and growing for so very long. So each one of us must go through both phases equally of the Judas and the Christ, where we have been the betrayer against our own souls and others by being part of the Whore of Babylon system. And when we finally say, I've had enough of that, I'm done being a Judas and betraying not only myself but the rest of my consciousness. And then you move through the phases of going down the long road of bearing that cross to have so very few there where the mobs are screaming for your blood and the Roman legions, a.k.a. cops, lawyers, judges, militaries, are taking the cat o' nine tails to you relentlessly. And for anyone that has seen The Passion of the Christ, you know what I'm saying. And if you haven't, you need to experience what Mel Gibson presented in gut-wrenching, and I'm talking it really gets to a point where you go, fuck, enough already. Holy shit, but that's what the system is. That's what a psychopath does. They don't have compassion. All they have is the glee of insanity, and they're casting lots for pieces of clothing after they've probably whipped this truther. That's all the Christ represents. That's a truther, one who stands in the truth. Whipped them so insidiously, so relentlessly, without any sense of compassion or remorse, only to find at the end. Hang on a second.
Go sit down, Fluffy.
What's that? Who's Fluffy?
Fluffy. The ego.
Right?
That's what we're telling these guys.
Yep. The thing is, Richie, and this is the point I'm making, is I would say roughly half of humanity is soulless and is completely incapable of exactly what it is I'm talking about. And just like any rabid dog, spiritually that rabid dog needs to be destroyed once and for all. And that's exactly what's coming for these entities. Because if you have not got a soul, then you have nothing to go on with, and all that will be left are the true creators. And that's exactly what this darkness is so terrified of. If but one shall awaken, well, bitch, here I am. And I'm rocking like a hurricane. But the difference is, I'm in the eye of the hurricane, and you are my storm around me, and I will direct that symphony to my liking, because you created it. I am merely granting your wish of your own destruction. And I'm quite happy to do that, and sad at the same time. However, if there's no soul there, well, no harm, no foul, nothing gained, nothing lost, right? It's just a 386 that you throw in the dump anyway. And that's all they are. They're just biological computer meat sticks running full reptilian DNA program brainstem. That's it. That's the mind of a slave, of a dead spiritual slave. So you choose the path that you walk. And those of us that are in the creation of the spirit, of the soul, stop buying this shit. Stop buying into it.
Yeah. We're throwing an M80 into the mix. And because M's the 13th letter of the alphabet, that's Christ consciousness. So we got our M80 strapped around us, right? Throw one over there. There's one. And just watch them all blow.
Sure. And, something else I wanted to share. Alonzo just texted me on Facebook. Not sure if he's tuned in right now or not, but just sent a note here. Well, I just finished looking in the mirror before I saw this. That was the other day. I texted back to him, and he had wrote, reading your website makes me want to marry you. I'm sure you get that all the time. Actually, no, I've never had that. I'm reading your Phoenician spell documents now. Fuck, who can handle me? Anyway, this should be put in newspapers, and that's a great idea. We should put it up as an ad or public notice, and I will reach out to those that have the means to do that, to do just that. I've asked for people just to simply, there's lots of single-page printout stuff on my website. That's yours. I am not a copyright. I am of source original, right? Guys, if it resonates with you and it says what you want to say but probably never had the way to say it, well, if it works, then just get it out to other people, because if it worked for you, guess what? It'll work for others. And if you're going to do any service to humanity, then do that.
Yeah.
You know, and those with means to do it, I'm not saying take out a front page ad. If you could, great, on the Wall Street Journal. That'd probably cost you $500,000. But if you could, great, glad to hear it. But for those that have the means to maybe call up say 100 newspapers, and if you can handle say a $100 ad or a $200 ad in whatever, then do that. Get the word out to people, because go to the laundromats, drop these things off. It takes nothing to print out 20 or 30 of these sheets and just leave them lying around in places. Those are the seeds. It's the same way as throwing a cannabis seed bomb. You get a couple hundred seeds together and you just throw it out into the city park somewhere. That's fun. What do they call them? Seed grenades, right? Do the same thing with the paper. It's all there. I mean, people are ruled by paper, so with the paper, those who have been dead by the sword can be raised by it as well. This is where you're actually being the Christ consciousness and creating a lot of Lazaruses. The laws are us's out there, okay? And it's all about the intent. It is always all about the intent. And if the heart is right,
I got to keep that in mind.
That's the only thing you need. It's the thought that counts.
Yeah, put that in.
That is it.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to do, Kate? Because once I start doing, because I do driveways, and it's my own thing. I work for myself, but I'm going to be doing some other stuff. I'm just going to let consciousness guide me. But what I'm going to do, there's a plane that because I live on Hampton Beach, and there's thousands of people out there, and they have this plane flying by with a banner that advertises shit. And I called up one time, people are like, oh, that's probably thousands of dollars. It's $100. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go down to the places, for little cubs, Piper Cubs there that, that fly them. I'm gonna go there and have them put up Kate Gaia.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm gonna.
Yeah, perfect.
I'll do it once a week. Have them fly by, watch Kate Gaia.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Well, here, make it easy. If you're going to do that, you probably pay by the letter, so just keep it Kate of Gaia. They'll get it. What's that? No, Google. Google is your friend. That's all it takes.
Ooh, I'll have two of them fly by at the same time.
Yeah.
Kate of Gaia, and then the second one say, I'm just reminding you to watch. I'll do something crazy.
Well, again, it's the intent. So, make it count. It's about the intent, and it most certainly is not about me at all. This is about all of us. I am just that nagging thought in the back of your mind as you are in the back of mine, constantly going, wake up, William, wake up. And that's what we're doing. We're collectively gathering our thoughts. This is the one mind consciousness gathering the same thoughts together. And this is where we get to experience the separation from all, and at the same time be part of the all in a singularity. Right? I am just but one cog or one thought in the overall consciousness, as we all are. And we are all equally capable and equally powerful. It just depends on how awake you are and what the intent is. So, yeah, it's a very easy thing, guys. Coffee shops, people are bored in laundromats, pin them up somewhere, public notice boards. Take them down to your community centers. Take them down to your city halls and put it up on the notice boards there. Anywhere that any of these Bioborg program meat sticks alongside their spiritually duped kin, get just hand the stuff out and put a smile on your face, and that's it. Take a walk down your neighborhood and drop one in each of the mailboxes. If you live in an apartment building, anytime the newspapers come in, just slip one of them inside each of the newspapers or ad books or whatever. It doesn't matter. Be creative, because it's not what's on the paper. It's the intent that you're putting out there. That's what's changing this. It's not the paper. It's you. It is the most pure source of you. And it's like, and your experiences, Janet, and yours, Richie, and everybody else's, mine included. These are very, very profound, powerful things that are changing the psyche. Can you imagine on March 14th what going across the police radios? Some crazy tranny bitch just said she's Phoenician. Oh, fuck.
Phoenician.
Yeah. What do we do? I don't know. What do we do? Well, what do we do? Mikey, you know.
I made it really clear, and don't be calling me one of those silly Freeman types either.
Yeah, that's the cop at U.S. Sovereign. Yeah. Well,
she didn't even say that. I just saw it in her eyes. They're all fucking programmed with it. You've seen the videos.
Yeah.
I had to laugh at one. There was one, and again, the same fucking moronic crew in Guelph. Excuse me, doing a takedown of an individual inside a house. And actually, I know this individual too. I've talked with him a few times. And the one totally obese, and I'm sorry, I'm calling it as I see it, female cop, while she's got her knee in his back, grabbing his arms behind his back with a little help from one of her other obese, well, that's why they call them pigs after all, right? So hold him down. And the camera was rolling. It was like she was on cue. Perfect programs. Well done, Guelph Police Force. How's that methadone steroid problem you have going? Yeah, I know, bunch of fucking drug addicts. But anyway, she looks right at the camera, right? Right at the camera. And she says it like this: "You're not one of those free man on the land types, are you?" You know, like.
Oh, really?
Oh, I should dig up the link, but honest to God, I laughed. I'm thinking, fuck me, people. How stupid. Look at how programmed you are. You know, oh, did I say the right thing on the script, boss? Do I get a treat? Oh, yeah, you get a treat. You get another table scrap that you sold your soul for. Enjoy.
Yeah,
and that's all it is.
Cold caller fuckers.
Oh yeah, it's so sad. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my goal and mission is to shake up their consciousness a little, and just being who I am. You know, I mean, I'm just going to speak from complete and utter friggin' confidence, right? And I mean, that's why I think when I speak sometimes, like even my family, they take me as being arrogant. It's like, no, I'm not arrogant. I just know who the frig I am. You know. I'm not going to bow down, cower out. You know, they got the picture of the lion looking in the mirror, but in the mirror they show a little kitten, right? Right, you're a friggin' lion. See that lion. You know, don't see that little kitten, right? That's what the system has done. It's converted people from being a powerful spiritual being into thinking they're a little kitten. That's the spell that's been put on everybody's friggin' mind. It's like, absolutely not. When a cop's asking me what my name is, and I ask him what his name is, and he asks me where I live, and then I ask him where he lives, and he asks me if I've been drinking, and I ask him if he's been drinking, right? They think I'm arrogant. It's like, well, did you not pay attention to the friggin' guy dressed up in a green suit with a gun, standing there asking me the questions first? He's the one I think's a little arrogant, right? I mean, I don't go running around and hunt him down. Start asking him any questions.
Oh, for sure. Now, hey, Richie, we've got about 20 minutes left here, so I'm just going to do a quick jump in. I also just opened 808 mic as well, so let me get this done, and we'll bring 808 and carry this through. We'll roll over for a bit. Who knows, you know, how long we'll go. If we get knocked off again or whatever, who cares? But anyway, just want to say a great big thank you to Paul Giovanni and the crew at criticalmassradio.co.uk. Of course, any help you guys can flow towards that is a great help to me and everyone else. To make sure that this and other tables at Critical Mass Radio are kept screaming loud, and that's what we do. Anything that anyone can do to help promote that even further is always appreciated as well, because you know what's going on, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. So all help is greatly appreciated in any way, shape, or form. That being said, thanks, Paul and Ninja and the crew at Critical Mass for this table that I've been so blessed to be able to sit at with so many powerhouses coming and already here. So greatly appreciate it. For those that want to jump in this call, you can call in at 661-467-2401. And of course, if you're listening on the Blog Talk page, you can call in through the Skype there. You will need a Blog Talk, Facebook, Twitter, whatever account to log in there. But once you hit the Skype, just follow your nose. It'll get you to the board. Once you're at the board, all you have to do is hit 1 on the phone, on your dial pad, or open up the dial pad on Skype and hit 1 there, and that lets me know that you won in the fray with the rest of us, because we're not frayed cats any longer. We are completely working it, and it's working beautifully. And that being said, we've got about 17, almost 18 minutes until we roll over. You have that much time to get in the call after we roll over. It goes off air into the recording, but if you're on the board, you get to continue on with us, and saving that, You can also get the download right after the show. Typically, if we go for an hour, it'll be 5 or 10 minutes after that, or catch it up the next day. All there. 808, who we got?
Hey, hello, I can't think you keep me away.
Oh, hey, there.
You disappeared, Mike. Houdini.
I just had to connect some other hard lines, Kate. I had to clear some other and come in through a different door, let's say, and clear that channel. And
I've had to do that before.
And
yeah, no stopping you, pal.
So I was sitting there, and I finished my what I was saying earlier, and then the whole thing dropped. I was just like, oh. And I was
we
just
never got any of it, Mike.
Yeah, I was just dropping an F-bomb, too, about how we do it to ourselves. You guys still there?
Yep. I was just saying we never got anything of what you said, Mike. It dropped completely straight away. You went, it's like the word stretched into one word, and then it just went completely dead. So we never got anything of what you said, so please repeat.
Carry on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just how beautiful, we're just clearing other heart lines, getting them open, surfing those channels, making sure they're clear, and coming in through some other doors. Because, some doors get so-called closed, we open some others. There's a reason some doors get closed. It isn't negative. It's open some others. And, it's beautiful. And I was sharing online earlier just when it cut out, and then I was just like, I just said that to myself, didn't I? I don't think anyone heard it. It was so funny. I was laughing. And basically what I was saying was the words were, and it kind of echoed right back at me. Like, brilliant. It was just like, you do it to yourself. We can blame someone else, whether it's whatever tool we're using, whether it's money or whatever person we're using as a tool. But at the end of the day, when we remember, okay, it's my responsibility, me, we stop fucking with ourselves.
I think the ticket is getting people to not believe, but to know that when they start following what it is that we're doing, the intent and getting rid of the friggin' name, when with this law, because that's not the law, I mean, that when you start standing in that truth, taking that license plate and license and the friggin' registration and put it in the recycling bin. Get rid of it. Let them use that for some other...
Well, here's the reminder again, Richie. It isn't just the license plate. When you try and have a conversation with some people, you'll see the fear come up, and we'll notice in our own self there's parts of us. But you'll see it in others, and it won't even be something like driving without a license plate where, they might get in trouble. It will be over other things where I'm like, look, no one's coming to beat down your door for thinking like this. Why are you so afraid to not believe in authority? Well, you think authority's going to come down your door now that you don't believe in them? No, they're actually going to go away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right. Most people are worried about the thought police, right? The thought police are out. It's like,
and, more aptly, it's the lemming or the peer pressure mindset that we've all been programmed into very carefully with schools. It starts extremely young. Never mind the fact that as soon as you pop out of mama, you've already got a canvas painted for you waiting, and it's full of bullshit that you have to scrape off at some point in your life, right? Then you go into the schools where they teach you that just like at work, that's all school is. It's just unpaid work where you get your programming for free. And the only difference between school as a kid and work as an adult is that you feel like you're being rewarded instead of little gold stars and check marks. You're getting little pieces of paper to go out and get things called possessions to make you even more possessed. And I tell you, one of the most blissful experiences and most excruciatingly painful ones was the complete depossession of all my possessions. It's like, that's why for me it's like, if all of these things, all of these material things that I've managed to accrue over a lifetime and what have you, be it guitars, be it tools, be it whatever it is, for all of those that have them, because I sure don't, If that's all I'm worth to you, and then have at her. That's your payment, your Judas payment. Your 30 pieces of silver are paid in full. This is me washing my hands of it, and that's the point that I had to get to, and I'm okay with it. It's not what I would do, not now. I mean, it's an entirely different viewpoint. I'm not interested in possessions, you know.
Right.
Like, and that's what people sell out for. Our whole society is based on who has better toys, who has better this, and who has better that. It's to keep up with the Joneses mentality, and it is so rammed into children's minds. I mean, a complete caste system. In that, I mean, it was even worse in Ireland. As soon as you got past the first 2 years in secondary school, then it became there was 4 different levels. There was, in my case, 3G1, 3G2, 3A, and 3B. I've explained this before, but here's how they instill the caste system. The 3G1, that's the ones that are likely to do university, more of your the educated level. Okay, that's where I was, and I seen this play out. And 3G2 were the ones that were almost 3G1 in terms of intellectual agility or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I just call it extreme programming. But they weren't quite there, but they weren't of the 3A or 3B, which basically relegated half of the school population into you're going to have a great life as a slave with a name tag on your shirt working for some master in some menial mind-numbing job that will completely deplete you of any creative incentive that you have. And you see, the problem with the schooling system is that all it gets equated with intellectual agility, which I, quite frankly, I see academics as people with the intellectual agility of a fucking soap dish that lack any sense of creative prowess whatsoever. And that, to me, is where the true art is, regardless of... I'm done trying to have intellectual fucking sparring fests with people because all they're doing is regurgitating the same fucking crap that was taught to them in school that they're still picking up on and still trying to, push their own agenda based on somebody else's. I mean, it's a prime scene in Good Will Hunting when Will, with the intellectual agility that was unrivaled, took on some wanker from Yale or whatever the fuck that moron school was, and he was able to tell him what he was quoting from and showed him for the parroting little parasite rabbit that he was. There was no creativity. There was no intellectual prowess. All this guy was an extroverted parrot that could regurgitate someone else's creative ideas. And that's exactly what school does. It gets you to parrot everything else. And you walk around your society, and you'll have people spewing the same shit that was drilled into their teachers before. That is absolute nonsense. The histories are all wrong. The math is all wrong. The physics are all wrong. Everything is wrong. I mean, how much more time do I need to spend on proving that? I already spent enough years doing that. I can sit across a table from anybody. I love sitting across from supposed academics to listen to the same shit over and over. It's the same fucking thing. They're just regurgitating someone else's idea, and they'll fight you to the fucking death to protect it, and it ain't even theirs. That's Paulie want a fucking cracker, and they're fighting for it. It's moronic. It's like, Jesus Christ, get an original thought. Be creative. Invent something. We got a planet full of fixers and very few truly inventive people. People making their existence off the backs of others that have created something for them. In the same way that with me playing music, I was the one that wrote all the songs. So all the people that played with me were taking part in my creativity. Yes, they had their creatives and their instruments, and they added their pieces. That was the whole point of it. But I'll tell you, the day I quit my own band, this is back in 1999, there wasn't a band left. Isn't that funny? Funny how that works, eh? Very capable musicians, the best I've played with. But as soon as I left, that was it. They were done. What does that tell you? Well, that tells you that there's a lot of coattailing going on. And that's what society does. Society coattails on those that actually get out and are creative and do invent new things. I mean, how many people owe their lives to the ingenuity of someone like Henry Ford? or Orville and Wilbur Wright, or any of these other things. Look at all who put together the first computer, who put together the first this, the first that, and the first other, and then you see society just coattailing the living shit out of it. How many original people do you know? How many original thinkers have you come across? Have a look at your society, and you'll see just how uncreative humanity is, coattailing the rest of humanity, if they're not spewing out the same educated, intellectual bullshit facts that someone was indoctrinated with before them, and they just accept it at face value. They're the ones that will look at the news and go, oh me, oh my, that must have happened. And I say, I wasn't there. I can't prove it. You know, how many people went to war based on the talking heads at CNN saying, oh, we weapons of mass destruction. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was one of them. Let's go back to
Anthrax.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Early 90s, you know. Oh, I was right there going, yeah, I was right along with them. Cheer, cheer. But I'll tell you, do you see the point I'm making here? How much originality have you got? What is your originality? And if you're mimicking and copying something else, if you're spitting out the ideas or the supposed intellect of another fucking moron, that's what you are. That's why I can't tolerate it. Because I know there's nothing original coming out of someone's face that's, you know, maybe wanting to, I don't know, challenge me until I don't give a fuck. I just sit back and go, yeah, that's fine, I know. I know it's a program, and that's okay. You want to stay in the program, well, sorry, I'm going to be over here, and I'm going to be all original, if you don't mind. If you want to be a copycat, go ahead. You can share all sorts of stuff. You know? Hey, I'll tell you, I was able to dive, maximum depth I've done is 200, I was able to dive to 212 feet based on somebody else's ideas of originality of putting, you know, air in a tank and creating all of these beautiful things around it. So I got to enjoy that original experience and have an experience myself. But I was still coattailing that concept that made it possible. In the same way that flying an airplane was made possible by the likes of Orville and Wilbur Wright. When they were called idiots for, you know, trying to even dream of heavier than air flight, you know, most of humanity was saying it was impossible, yet they couldn't see a fucking bird in the air. You know, well, man can't fly. It's just, well, what do you mean? Those birds do. There must be something holding them up there. And they figured it out, and they did it. And what do you got now? Now you've got people that would say, oh, you can't go to the moon. Well, whether we did or not, it's irrelevant. It's just a concept, right? And yet we build these fucking monster Saturn V penises to launch into orbit, you know? They do love their phalluses in this world, don't they? But do you see what I'm saying, though? It's like, are you an original thinker, or are you just regurgitating someone else's bullshit? This is one of the things at this table that I will drive home to the point of bleeding people. You are an ultimate creator that has been duped into somebody else's fucking garbage. Are you okay with that? Are you okay being a slave to licenses, to insurances, to fucking mortgages, to all the rest of this shit, to the banks that parasite your very soul, never mind taking 95 to 98% of your livelihood anyway? We're the ones that build the fucking roads. We're the ones that build the fucking airplanes. We're the ones that build the cars. We're the ones that, unfortunately, make the fucking guns that these werewolves walk around and like to shove in people's faces. No, we're the ones that grow the food. We're the ones that make all this possible. And we say it's okay to be a slave to those that are parasiting and stealing. And not only that, they're fucking your children. They're stealing them. They're killing them. They're raping them. They're murdering. They are destroying entire fucking nations.
Yeah. And
we go along with it. Not me. I'm going to be a little bit original. I'm going to stand up and say, not a fucking chance, not on my watch, cockhead. And if you want to play with this goddess, bring it the fuck on. And you know who I am.
There's people out there that never have a unique, independent thought their entire life.
Never.
Just repeaters. Just repeat the same shit over and over and over again. Like a talking bobblehead.
Well, it's the Babylonians. They're the Babylonians.
Yeah, right. Build the jail cells. I wonder how many people built jail cells and ended up into the same cell that he built. Wouldn't that? Fuck. I built this thing. Now I'm in it.
Yeah, exactly. And the ones that work in those, I got to experience that up close and personal for daring to expose the Bank of Montreal and all the rest of the banks for their fucking mortgage fraud and corruption, right up to their presidents. They all got emails. Oh, yeah, they got them all. Okay, for exposing the corruption of the Guelph Police Department. Never mind all the shit they fucking stole at my house. And the management company and Allied Van Lines that took part in the aiding and abetting of theft, emptying my home out, emptying my bar, stealing all my food, that it was there for community use, not just my own family. The intent was there to make sure that, you know, if anyone showed up that needed help at my home, I was there and it was available. And I did that many times. And I got to tell you, not one in my family that I provided roofs for had the decency on the night I almost froze to death to say I've got a couch here. Not even my ex, who I bought the fucking couch that she owns. And I was not 2 minutes walk from where she is living after a 9-kilometer fucking hike in minus 20 plus weather. No, she couldn't say, well, just come over here and we'll sort things out in the morning. No. I got my kids, my possessions, I'm going to fuck you. And that's basically it. I haven't seen her since. Actually, I've seen her once at my brother-in-law's funeral. And both my children scowled at me like I was some fucking pariah for daring to love them enough to put myself on that fucking cross, then climb off it and keep going. And the Judases will be paid. And they are paid. And that's not a slight on them. That's just, here's your mirror. I love unconditionally. And those that come back of their own free will, of their own choice. Just like the one that was hanging on the cross beside Jesus said, you know, if you truly are the Son of God, the Son of Man, I know that I'm on this cross and I know I deserve what I get. And I will take full responsibility for that which I have done. And Jesus in the allegory looked at him and said, today you will join me in paradise. And for those, the mockers, the ones that were on the other side, the left side, the Cain side of Christ, oh, if you're the Son of God, then you will lift yourself off this cross. And sorry, you do not tempt the Christ consciousness, you fool. And all I see are uniforms on that cross. All I see are government employees on that cross. All I see are lawyers, judges, clergy, popes, queens, kings, presidents, prime ministers on that fucking cross. And they are there of their own volition. They have nailed themselves to their own cross. And they might have even used, like the banker did, a 3 1/4-inch pass-load nail gun. I've got one of those, or I used to have one. Who knows where that is? Who cares? You're paid in full, Judas. Enjoy the lots of your life that you have cast. That's simple. And this is what it means that when you get where I'm talking right now, you are the Christ. You are the second coming. You are the judge. And I know that you will never judge those that have judged you anywhere remotely as harsh as they judged you for standing in truth and daring to be heard. Well, I scream from the rooftops. And the joke and the irony of all this, boys and girls, is I did it with a fucking skirt on.
Yeah, with the skirt on in the freezing cold in a tent. I mean, God.
Come on.
Example.
Come on, I'm right here.
It's amazing. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
I'm with you, too. On top of that rooftop.
Well, I tell you, you know, all these entities that thought it was great and all fun, and I could see the whole gang of young cops that came and kidnapped me the second time, all sitting around that Saturday night, having a great old time. Yeah, did you see how I pulled her hair out and stood on her neck and nearly crushed her wrist into non-existence? And you know, did you see how we just dragged her out and did this and that and the other and kicked the door in? Yes, my friends, I did see that. And unfortunately for you, I'm going to let that one judge you. I will not speak. I will not speak for you. You've already spoken.
Yeah, Now look where you are. Now look who's on. Now look at the tables have turned. The Emerald table is just at a 360, right? This last supper, they're listening in, and you know they have or they are. And look who's at this table, right?
That's right. This is what I was going to say. This is what I was going to say when the show ended last night. And just as I was about to say it, we have made a course correction to the divine feminine, into neutrality. And this not just like, this is the consciousness of the people. It's like you said, Richie, that's been shifted, that's been corrected. I felt it.
Yeah, like they say, who laughs last laughs the hardest, right? So we're having the last laugh and having a feast, right? You know,
the only question I would ask is, would you? If you were me, would you?
Yeah, I guess I would, Kate. Because I am.
I know that, but those that have done these things to humanity, these vile...
You know what they would do, Kate? They would say no and run and do worse, if you want to put a level on it. They're doing worse to themselves.
Well, there's only one answer.
There's more irony to it.
There's only one answer I will accept from anyone that has an open mind, an open heart, an open soul, and you know what the answer is. It's simply, okay, I'll look at that.
Yeah.
It won't be, well, you know, this, that, and the other, and this because I just try okay on for a size, and maybe then I'll actually understand and accept the notion that maybe you actually heard what I was saying, and I'm talking in general terms here, to humanity, right? That is so busy thinking up the next clever fucking thing to say to make themselves look even more intelligent, and to me it just makes them look more fucking ignorant and stupid. Turn off the left brain for a second and maybe have a tendency or desire to listen perhaps to someone with benevolent intent that only wishes to expand your consciousness rather than walking around in that closed little box called academia, intellectualism, physical reality, literal bullshit. And maybe perchance have a second look and take the time to breathe and listen. That's what I had to do, and it worked treats. And one of the claims that I love the most is I've probably been wrong more times than most people on this planet, in that I found the truth because I went looking to be wrong, not looking to be right. Ego needs to be right, and it does. It needs to be right. It needs to stop being left. Does it left brain? Well, you get left behind. That's how it works. It's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, left brain is kind of a closed source system, where right brain is open source.
Sorry, guys.
Whoa.
That was I just opened Barb's mic. Sorry, I got Manny.
Bingo. Bingo.
Yeah.
So like in technology, you have closed source and you have open source. So you have these different type of platforms. It's the same thing with our brain. You have, if you're stuck in the left, you're going to be closed source. You're not going to accept anything that fits unless it fits into this limiting structure. Or you can, move to the right, come into some neutral balance, and you're open source, and there's no limits on you again.
And you're right, Kate, about the okay thing, because there's a couple of times, especially when before I even started, getting on to the, to talk, at this table here, I'm like, fucking jeez, I'm like, wow, and then when I had to say, when I said okay a couple of times, I took Fluffy and drop kicked him, and I'm like, oh, okay, right, now what is it I need to look at? What is it I need to see? What is it, and just surrendering to that, you know what I'm saying? It's these other points of us, me and
Richie, it's as simple as this. There's only one thing that I wish for, and there's only one thing that I want, and it's not for you to be me. It's for you to be you, and that's it.
Right, I know. Yeah.
And that's it. And
that's the power.
most of humanity has been duped into being a god in someone else's image, be it academic, be it commercial, be it whatever, anything in this literal meat stick commercial Whore of Babylon trap that they are literally crucified on, and so many have left themselves crucified on the cross, so reluctant to come down. And they've already been through the crucifixion. That's the hard part. I just want to let Brandon know that you're in, Steve, you're in, and Manny, you're in as well. I did try to open up Barbara's line, but it's too noisy on her end. So, and area code 631 is in as well, and it looks like Alvida's popping in. So everybody's popping in. So just to let you guys know, and we have about 53 minutes to chat. Looks like we're going to run the whole course tonight, so let's play.
All right, let's run the gamut.
I've been wanting to say something about Rich. Richie, it's really amazing to see like your evolution since you started at the stable. You just were mentioning that. Man, you're really on top of things now. Like, wow. It's like, little Katie's gonna wear off on you. You know what I mean? So, and Mike and everybody else. So, man, it's really great to see you. To hear some gusto in your voice and energy and enthusiasm and positive, it's good. So
I love hearing the real you, everyone. I love hearing the real you.
Yeah.
You're not regurgitating. You're not. Yeah. You are on the road of original, and this is the ship that changes universes, and you're going to be the ones like myself to do it. So let's play.
Yeah. And that's what I want. Thanks, Brandon, because that's what I want people to be powerful. I want, you know what I'm saying? I want, you know what I'm saying? I want to know who I am, so of course I'd want somebody else to know who they are and stand tall, hold their head up high. Get on that rooftop, like Kate said, and say, here I am, all right? What are you doing down there? Most people aren't going to want to look up. It'll hurt their neck to look up that long, right? So, yeah. So that's cool, man. We're pulling the plug.
Yep. Evening all.
It's all right.
Evening all.
Hey Stevie, how are you?
Doing well, my friend. Thank you. And your comments earlier were spot on about the psychopaths and not putting up with the bullshit. We live in a physical world as a spiritual being, which is a fucking oxymoron, I guess, when you try to figure it out in this level. But I am no longer looking at the word neutral, positive, negative. That doesn't make neutrality. I am not neutered, and I will not stand for the shit that's going on. I don't want to engage in the physical as a war party, but I will engage from my end as a warrior. And so there's no neutrality here. I have drawn lines in the sand, and there's no neutral. And by the way, love you, brother Richie.
Yeah, you too, man.
Actually, when we're talking neutral, I think we're talking being balanced, Steve, between so we're not dominant left, dominant right. We're balanced.
It's called you
so,
knew.
Yeah, thanks to the word.
K-N-E-W, guys. Listen to the phonics. It's new, which is known. To something that you knew is now brand new, right? This is the beautiful singularity that word is. New. This is why, for me, it is about being new, but from my definition. For me, and the T is the law of truth, right? Which is lave, T. The X inside the circle, the Phoenician capital L, T, R, spirit breath, into the creation, A, as below, going above, with intent, L, neutral, and the all. So that's how I define it. This is about full remembering only. That's why I am neutral. It is all about remembering. So, and well put, Steve. That's where the positive, negative, and neutral become the singularity of the one, and that's why for me it just sums up in remembering. What I knew becomes brand new. And there is nothing new.
I just want to comment on Brandon real quick. When Brandon was talking like that, see, that's what I want. See, I'm surrounded by people that are disempowered, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not, I wish they would, like when I hear those guys last night in different moments in time, because I'm not always in that state, and then when I hear Kate or different people, I need people to empower me. I need people to say, hey, Richie, get off that fucking tricycle and jump on this white horse. It's a better ride. It's you know what I'm saying? So I love hearing people that are right on track and powerful and get their shit together, and because that affects me, into that causal state of mind, so that's like, and,
hey, Michael?
Yes, Steve.
Yeah, what I meant with what I said earlier was
that was right on.
It's kind of a reflection too of the fact that the phonics of the words, there are also a I guess you'd call it a reflection of the phonics of thought, because there are times when you try to put something out there, and you try to put it out in a way that it is intended or meant, and the phonics don't come through. That's why this Skype typing and emails and all this crap get lost, because there's phonics with intent, and there's phonics with words too.
Well, yeah, the phonics is think of the words from the spell viewpoint. If a group of sigils or squiggly lines, shapes, or whatever are formed that make you create a sound, let's say bus, B-U-S. If you see that, you register with that visual, that sound, a light sound, if you will, and it triggers with you that you will see, well, maybe a long vehicle with wheels. And the intent of that spelling is to make you see that. So once you break down what that word is and destroy its original intent, that's what happens when you neutralize it. For me, I just see it as the Christ consciousness with intent of divine feminine. An entirely different picture using B, U, and S, yeah? So that's what I mean about neutralizing words, so that what happens then is that original spell that made you see a bus is now gone, where it's now defined for me as being the Christ consciousness with intent in divine feminine. What's happened then is now that sound, when I say bus, is carried. Now remember, there's the flat line magnetic, which is pure 0 point. That's you, the center of you, the darkest void, the Io, the On, the goddess within, the heart, the Father is completely neutral. That is your consciousness field.
You just reminded me, Kate? You're not reprogramming. You're pre-programming.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing it.
I'm changing the program.
Well, then, no. You're not programming anything.
Well,
that's the whole point.
Okay, see, there's a literal problem, right? So let's not. I know what you're saying, Steve. It's not. It's about changing the intent. And this is why this fucking language stuff is so hard to convey the concepts. It's so much easier to paint a picture. But again, the flat line is where you create from. If the words are controlled through the spells that you accept with pictures attached to them, that's what you create, because you're in agreement to it.
Okay, well, the point I was trying to bring up, yes, and you do a very fine job. The point, and I'll try to make this quick, the point I was trying to bring up is the same thing that you have exposed in the literal word is the same thing that we have to do the same thing on the thought level. Okay, because
that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing, Steve.
Yes.
When you change the intent of the spell by making it defined as to what you want it to be defined as, you're no longer spellbound. Now those three sigils, B-U-S, mean something entirely different every time you say it. That is the intent now that's going out with the same three letters that used to mean something else. Now it's my definition, no one else's. That's all.
Yeah, it's brainwashing. See, I need my brain washed, right? I need some Kate Polisher and Mike Polisher and Brandon and Janet and all these points. I need them to come in with with a squeegee, like what's his name? Squeegee my third eye, and wash my friggin' brain, right? Because it's been programmed.
Richie, that's what you're doing, and seriously, my friend. You don't even. The whole point of this is you don't even need to mention me or anybody else. This is why,
I know.
For me, I know you know.
It's energy.
That's why exactly. This is where we simply come to this table with good ideas to see what can get resonated with neutrally.
Right.
What can you feel? What can you accept? It's not about what I'm saying. It's got nothing to do with that. An idea is will only create if it has resonance. And that's why we are changing this place so quickly, because more and more of us are gathering with this benevolent intent, diffusing all of the spells by literally changing the thoughts contained within them. If someone wants, and you're bang on, Steve, with thought. If someone wants me to have the thought of a bus by putting a picture beside it, I am spellbound into that thought. Now I'm saying no. Those same 3 letters mean the Christ consciousness with intent into divine feminine, my pure creation. So when that word is, anytime I say that, that's the intent, the thought that goes out, that is now rebranded, if you will. That's what we're doing.
Spot on, Caden.
Rebranding
and that's
the word.
The point I was trying. Somebody brought up the point the other night. They said, "What's the newness? What's the next one? Okay? You have done an extraordinary job of breaking down this fucking language." And I say languish because that's what it's done to me in my lifetime. But now, okay, here's the next thing. If we've broken down the spoken word, the language, then we need to break down the thought pattern, and that's the next one.
Well,
so
we're doing that.
Steve,
we're already doing that. That's what I'm saying. Is we're changing that thought pattern. We're removing the original thought intent contained within it, and we're putting our own thought in it now. So you're right on the money. That is what is new, and it's working wonders. You change the intent contained within a sigil, and you make it your own definition. That every time you utter that, that's your creation going out. It's no longer in agreement with the system thought that is now the Steve thought. It is now the Richie, the Mike, the Janet, everybody mystified.
I've recognized the case.
Yeah, that's your thought now. It's not. It doesn't belong to someone else. Because you can make any sigil you want. You can create your own language. I mean, we don't have to use these silly little sigils. We don't have to use any sigils. It's much easier just to paint the picture. And this is one of the joys of this table, because what we've done over the last 10, 15 minutes is taken all of what we've brought to this table and hammered through it to really polish that diamond. So I totally agree with you, Steve. It is about the thought. And that's what we're doing when we dispel the words. We are changing the literal thought contained within that word, that spell. Call it a spell, call it a thought. To me, it's the same thing. So we're casting our own spells now with our own intention from that 0 point flat line to create the sine wave above it. That's your straight line below, which is magnetic source of all creation. That's your creation field, magnet. And you have the sine waves above it. We're changing the literal frequency of those sine waves when we change the meanings in the sigils and the squiggles and the numbers and the symbols. That's why when people get caught staring at symbols all the time and just keep going over it and over it, I get it. I love the work that Marty Leeds has done. I love the work that others have done in these fields, Nassim Harriman and all the rest of it. For me, it's taking it to that next level. It's about saying, okay, that's great. Look, it's perfect. You've done masterful work. I'm still going to ask why, and that's all I've been doing is asking myself, well, why is that way, and why is it that way? And I take all of these beautiful gems from so many beautiful masters. They are masters of one trade. I'm a jack of all, right? And of course, becoming the master of none, N-U-N. The creator and destroyer. So I destroy the old while I create the new, because in every creation there must be destruction and vice versa. So we're destroying the old paradigm of nonsense while we are creating this new reality with our own thought pattern, with our own sine wave, instead of buying into the same shit that gets taught century after century by those that wrote the books, by those that built the schools. You can spend countless years working through things like astrology or math or whatever, and that's all you're going to do. You're going to be a master of it, and you're going to look at it, and you're going to be very literal with it, and you'll be regurgitating the same shit that others have said before. For me, it had to be different. It had to be original. Why? Why is all of this there? Why are all these tools there available to us and no one's using them? I just picked up the whole set, the whole toolbox. Because they're beautiful tools out there. I mean, no one can argue that. You've got, people like, I keep saying the same names: Mark Passio, Bill Donahue, Sana Bonacci, Marty Leeds, Robert O'Day, Matt Pratt. All right, Bill. I think it was one of the first ones I said. But I mean, and the list goes. Michael Tessarian, Nassim Harriman. All of these people have done masterful work. The only thing that I see for me that if there's anything different that I'm doing is I'm not just looking at one or two little things in one field. I'm looking at how they all relate. I bring music to it. I bring math to it. I bring language. I bring religion. Or spirituality, deciphering, all of it. I bring all of it and look through all of it because it's the same story. I just assembled the pieces. And it shows up in every freaking movie I watch. It's the same story. And that for me was the biggest revelation of all, was seeing that same continuous flow. And all it's telling me is this: stand in truth. It shall set you free. That's it. That's the only thing that anyone needs to know. And the universe presents it accordingly. Your creation will manifest accordingly. The more you stand in truth, and remember, these dark principalities, this is not a game of physical here, this is a game of principalities, to see if they can suck the living soul out of you continuously. But that tap's turned off. And when you turn the tap off to somebody else taking all of your power, what happens to your power? It stays exactly where it needs to, within itself. And guess what happens with that power once you awaken more and more? You watch your reality change. And you say things that make popes drop to their knees. You say things that change entire planets. You guys have done it. You've seen me do it countless times. You've done it. Yeah. I've done it. This is real. It is. Everyone's sitting in Kansas, right? And we know it's Oz. That's the difference. People have been sold a bill of goods in the black and white of Kansas, and we are the color of Oz, right? So
I live in Oz's Ark.
Yes, you do. Ozarks.
You talking to me?
Hey, Randy. Holy.
What up? Just beautiful, gang. Frickin' beautiful.
Stay in the course, baby. Stay in the course.
Absolutely. Hey, you know what, too? Yesterday, when them guys came through, my ancestors, right, was talking about being the gateway, too. The date yesterday was 4/2, right? 2014. That adds up to 13.
Yeah, yeah. Someone posted that on my Facebook as well. So well done. Good observation. No, that's good observation. Look how many people are paying attention to what's really going on. Look how many people are seeing the coincidences where they used to be coincidences. You're seeing how things are getting put together, and this is the magic. This really is the magic. And I'm watching so many beautiful things happening with people that know what we're talking about here and are standing in it, and only to see that pure truth of that invisible shield up where the werewolves cannot and dare not enter. That's how you can spot the bioborgs, by the way. They can't break through that. That's the Death Eaters in Harry Potter, right?
Yeah.
That's what I said the other night about the new energies coming through. There's new energies coming through they cannot detect. And I don't know how many of you live out where you can see what's really happening, but oh my God, the last couple of years and the last couple of months, the intensity has increased so much with the interaction between the Earth and the Sun and the Moon. And I know how you feel about the Moon, Kate, and we're not going to go there. But
that's okay. It's okay. I'll take it out. Don't worry about it.
I know it is. I know it is, my friend. I know it is. We love each other. But there is something. I have been seeing this thing happening, and there's a few around me, which I don't contact more than 3 people a day on any given day. But there's something happening with the color, and it's a light frequency thing. It's not a gamma ray frequency. It's not the CME thing, okay, coming from the sun. It's a light frequency, and it's not coming from the sun. It's coming from the
from
center,
us.
the galactic. Well, it's an interaction.
Yep.
Where are you hearing this stuff from, Steve?
From me.
Feeling it. He's experiencing it.
Yeah, you feel it.
Yeah, no.
This is what I see. This is what I see every day. Okay? I see it every day. It is getting so intense.
Yes, Steve, I
mean,
catch that intensity, and I try and share it with others. I'm like, guys, do you feel that intensity right now? That's not a normal we were standing in the sun feeling here. It's something very intense. And, people mostly go, oh, yeah, it's hot. And I'm like, no, it's different.
It's different. It's fucking different. The light
I can
frequency
feel it too. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep, I can feel that it's a big change, and I felt it back. Yeah,
what Steve is expressing here is exactly what each of us have a gift for. Each one of us can see a hidden thing that everyone else can't, and this is what's happening here. Is we're all bringing these things that only we and maybe a few others can see of a particular thing, and when you bring it to the table, these things get exposed. How many people saw the Phoenician spell contained within the language? So there's my little trick. Steve, there's Steve's little trick. You all have your own little tricks that we bring to the table and put them together collectively and go, yeah, we got the shit, baby. And that's what's happening here.
So here's
we're all bringing our own.
Here's something in that light frequency that somebody I heard recently described. They're calling it orgone energy or chi or different names for it that some people relate to it, and they were giving it the color blue. He was going, that's why the sky is blue, the water's blue. If you look into a glacier in the middle of it, it's got this blue, you see this concentration of, we'll call it pure energy, call it spiritual energy, and in a physical form that we're seeing actually in the physical form. This light, and if you ever gone on some meditations, you've gone into the deep blue wonder, and I've been there a few times, like, where? And it's just all blue, other instances all white. But it's this connection to the chi, the energy, the life force.
Okay.
And
I agree with that, but can I interject something here, because it's not blue anymore. It's not blue anymore. It's white. It's white.
It's getting clear.
And I don't know about clear, but my God, has nobody looked at the sunrises and sunsets? Has nobody looked at the plasmic whiteness that you can't even look into? Have you not seen that the moisture clouds do not reflect the colors anymore? That it's all shades of gray.
It's cutting through.
The colors are gone. These are from old things. You talk about the blue. You talk about all that is the old shit. We've got something new going on here, folks. There's something new, and pay attention.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Steve. Our consciousness, that's what this world hasn't been used to, or it's being reintroduced to the ones that we're raising this magnetic electric energy. Our consciousness is shape-shifting and putting it out there. We're the ones that are doing this. And when you mentioned gray, too, I went back to the 25th. Remember I was telling you, but you were saying Giuseppe puts the videos up, and all of them have color except that one video. So I tune into that stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I know there's something there, and it's gray. It's gray. So what I did is I went to...
Which video was that? You mentioned it before.
The 25th.
Okay.
Yep, the 25th, it's gray, and the rest all have color. So I'm like, why did he make that gray? So I went to Suspicious Observers, right, and a couple other ones. Like you guys are talking about the photos on the sun, right, the coronal mass ejections. And on that day, there was an X flare. An X flare is the highest order, right? And and on that day, it was a 4.9 X flare, right? And 4 and 9 is 13 now. And when it shows it coming out, it literally looks like a person. If you go to Suspicious Observers on that day, and he stops it for that moment, and you can literally see it looks like a person coming out of the sun. And there was a massive, you'll see it. It looks like a friggin' Vesica Pisces thing appearing. It's amazing. So when you guys, I think it was you and Janet were talking about, you were saying, you wanted to match up these coronal mass ejections to different times when we speak and stuff, and I went back to, so I'm going over different things, like when there was real powerful moments we have where our consciousness is lit up, and just tracking it, because I can feel it too. At night, I can see friggin' death in my room, and that night I was telling you, I literally saw there was 7 rays of light, like right out in front of my house. I could see them, and it's 2:00 in the morning. So, they were suspended right there in the air, And then I saw the Sphinx. I'm out there, I stare into the sun just before sunset, and a Sphinx literally appeared out in the clouds. I'm like, what the fuck? Look at that shit. Yeah. And then 2 minutes later, an alien head appeared with the big black eyes and all the alien. And then I'm looking at it, and then I said to myself, what are you looking at? I'm talking to the clouds.
Well, I have to jump in here on that. No, I have to jump in here on that because I can't believe that this turned this direction. And Kate, I'm sorry if I'm overstepping my bounds here, but
no, do your thing. This table's wide open.
I don't know about the aliens or the sphinxes, but I just look at what is happening between the Earth and the cosmos, and my goodness, there is an energy coming in here. Oh, am I roboting again, Richie?
Yeah, it went out.
Well,
it's okay. Hey, Steve.
Well, I'm sorry.
It's as simple as this. That's his spiritual trick to see exactly the same thing you're seeing in a different form. That's all.
Yeah.
Oh well, I love Richie. I think he's a great guy. This wonderful thing that I want you. Oh, thank you, my friend. But I want to stay on this tone for just a second, and then I'll back out of my robot shit. Look towards what's happening with the energies coming in and the energies going out. There has been a great change, a great awakening on this shit. So please look to nature, because she is telling you what you need to hear, and it goes along with what Kate's been doing with all this breakdown on the morbid crap of the shit that has fucked with humanity, the language, the corporations, all the crap, all the physical stuff. But there is a major, major change happening right now in the physical, in this world, when it comes to plants and animals. Ask Guru about his mushroom raising. I used to do that, and it's all changing. Look, get outside, walk around, get away from everything, and just watch what's happening, because it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I used to run around and hug trees.
I still do.
Do you? I haven't hugged one lately. I talked to one.
I'm going to hug a tree tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is that my hugging lady? Was that my hugging lady that oh, girl, give me a hug. Can I have a hug?
You get a big
hug, girl. Thank you, sweetheart.
You get a big
intensity. What other things that come into you with this intensity between the sun and the earth that we're feeling? And it's almost like I don't want to say blinding intensity, but it's intense. Impulse. Well, I think we're feeling the spiritual between the sun and the earth.
Yeah. Well, what we're seeing is we know the physical. I'd hate to call it physical. We know what the fuckers did. We've understood it. And between Kate and all the other miraculous people who have done so much more mentally than I've ever been capable of, I give all my thanks to. But we have dispelled the situation now, as we talked the other night. Now, where do we go from here? We go to paying the fuck attention to what's going on around us, and our participation, our unification, and our connection with the earth and the cosmos. And it does not have anything to do with machines or computers or extracting elements from the veins of the earth. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with what's happening right now. And there are great things happening if we will just open our eyes and throw away this other crap. Just throw it away. What does the Bible say? Cast off all of your belongings. Cast off all of your family. Cast off your children and walk with me. Don't look back on the old shit. It wasn't saying, let your family starve, for God's sake. It was saying, quit looking at the old shit. Quit getting caught up in the fucking trap. And look towards the new energetics of what we are. It's happening right now.
Yep, and
so fucking pay
those
attention.
That truly Steve, and those that truly know and truly love, in terms of that which you cast off, are the ones that are going to be there anyway. And that's, for me, the whole point of the Christ consciousness, is to not only first clear out your own shit, but, I go back to the allegory of Nicodemus. Here's a guy that had everything and blah, 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 and wanted to follow the Nazarene, and all he said to him was, well, fine, then give away all your shit to the poor and give it all up and walk with me. And he couldn't do that. And that's the majority of humanity, and that is going to be...
Walk away from the horror.
Yep, and that's going to be the hardest thing for people. And how many of us here are living proof, real living, not of the dead zombie horror of Babylon world, real living proof of exactly what all of these allegories said all along. Listen, it's really simple. People who want to hang on to the system and be part of it and everything else, there's nothing original in that. That's, to me, just a bunch of pussies. And
that's to make the game boring, because it's nothing there, and everybody's
well,
around.
And like I said the other night, you cannot take from, change, extrude, manipulate, posturate anything from the old.
Nope.
So if you're not going to do that, then be a creator and create something fucking new. Don't try to revamp something that's been revamped so many fucking times.
Yeah, like
Let's
currencies or sciences or free energy, this, and new Bitcoin, that, and all the rest. Oh, we're going to save you, Opt. We're going to save you, Nasara. Dinar. Oh, yeah, those are original. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. That's the same as what it used to be. Huh. No more.
Exactly, Kate. So why don't we take what's going on with the sun right now and the connection with the earth and what we have started to perceive our connections with them, and let's build on that. Let's see what energies can we create out of new energy. Rearrange the molecules. Everything is made out of the same substance. So what can we do as a human animal, or as a human god, if you prefer that word, and rearrange those molecules and make something that is fucking new?
Exactly.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick, too, I see where you're coming from, Steve, and see, that's what I think might get confusing, because, like, Kate had said that, is that we each have a game piece. See, my consciousness is with the earth, but I think there's people that are of the earth, that's them, that it's theirs, and these other energies screwed it up, manipulated things, because I know that I'm not from this place. I respect it. Like I said, I hug trees, I feed the birds, but I know in my soul I'm from another place, and there's those of us that recognize this. So that's why I'm saying our game piece, like my game piece, is to come in here and do what it is that I'm doing, and then as I do that, more will be given me, because if I'm not going to be doing what it is that's already been given me, you see what I'm saying?
No,
I don't.
Well,
that's
I'm
what I'm
from
saying.
Here.
We're here to help each other.
I'm from here.
Okay, that's fine.
What's
how
that?
about we let someone have what is theirs? That's great. People,
right.
Again, everyone is an original here, whether you have the notion you're from here or from somewhere. I don't particularly give a shit, because that's all physical to me. Where's your heart? That's all I care about.
Right.
It's a big universe, you know. Who the fuck is to say
Huge.
where are you from? You know, what is still interfering and what's not. So for me, I just let go of it all and go, cool, let's play, stand in truth, and keep moving. That's all I do.
What I'm saying is, I'm not a gardener. I've tried growing. In fact, I got compost going because I'm trying to plant some apple seeds to grow some apple trees. I suck at it. Right? I haven't been able. I get them going about 3 inches long. I'm not a gardener. I'm not somebody who can do that, like a farmer. You know. But there's people whose heart and soul is there with that. That's what I'm getting at. Is that that's
like
what they're meant to do, not me. Huh?
Steve's of the land. I mean, you know, Steve, you've made the land a very, very dear friend, and that's totally awesome. It's like I said, this planet is in great shape because not everybody wants to do that or can do that. That's not their passion. You know, it's just like with me in music. Not everybody wants to do that or can do that.
Right.
That's my little human trick, and this applies to all of us. We all have our own uniqueness that keeps us so beautifully with all and separate at the same time. And really, it's just a matter of accepting those gifts in self and, of course, equally in others. So for me, there's no judgment. Like I said, whatever script you're playing, be it from a UFO, off-world, on-world, alien, whatever the case may be, is irrelevant to me. For me, it's just about knowing who I am and playing within that role, and also at the same time allowing all others to play out their role. And if their role is one of complete devastation of themselves, then so be it. That's not my role. I'm not going to judge it. It's not mine. It's not what I would do. So have at her, play. You know. So, you know, you are all beautiful in your own way. You are all beautiful, ultimate. I can't even. There's no words to describe how I see you. The most precious, most infinite diamonds in the consciousness of all. And that's the only thing I'm interested in scraping all the shit away from, because I already know this. This is my silly spirit trick. I see this. I see this energy. And I'll take a chainsaw to the shit on the outside. You know that. I'm pretty handy with it. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I don't care what it takes. People can hate me. That's just ego. That's just program. All they want. And I will do whatever it takes. I will paint how many bullseyes or whatever is needed on me to bring that out, to get through that, because I can, and I will. And all it requires to do that is standing in truth, standing to post, I shall never yield, and none. Well, she's here now. She's not passing. She's here. And this is the new world, the one we already know. The remembered world. That's what we're going back to. That's why it's new. So there you have it for me.
Reason me.
Thank you for your clarity. No, I will say, my friend, you know, you and I have crossed roads so many times, but you always, there's so many times you piss me off, but you always come back to the clarity of the moment, and that's all I'm saying. I love you all so much. It's just there is this thing, and my wife hates when I say that, but there is this thing that is happening right now, and the clarity is hard to see, and that's why I jump in the last few nights, and I will probably disappear in about a month, but it's all happening right now, and all of you are bringing all these beautiful things to the table, and as this thing, this one thing, there's two things, because there's one thing that's collapsing, which is beautiful. You know, it ain't happening as quick as we'd like it, but it's collapsing. The other thing we're building, and it's not happening as quick as we want, which is all great, because...
Here's a question for you, Steve, and I think this will probably sum it up. How passionate are you to show what it is that you see that others can't? And that's all this is.
Well,
we are so passionate to share.
It would be that I would want to show what I see so much that I have to shut the fuck up.
Me too. Doesn't happen too often, though. You ever notice that? for either of us. I love it.
Yeah, you mouth bitch.
I know our passions. You know what, Stevie? Our passions get the better of us, and it's only because of that infinite compassion and passion, wanting to share the beauty of what it is we see. That's all it is.
That's exactly what it is.
I see you.
Yep. Bingo. B13.
I see you.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh boy. And you all at this table are so beautiful, and I thank you. And Brother Richie, I have to throw my heart out to you. Thank you for the interaction tonight. I loved the fuck out of that. That was great. That reminded me of growing up with my old man. You know, I had 5 sisters and a brother. There was 7 of us, and my mother or my grandparents lived with us. So there was like 11 of us in the house, and we had a little 12-inch television. You know, and it was snowy most of the time, and we had to go up to the cottage to turn the antenna, and we had a relay system to where you'd say, "Oh, turn a little more, turn a little left, little right," you know, try to get a picture in. You know, we only got 2 stations, and and it was like, don't ever open your fucking mouth unless you're willing to you know, throw it out there, because somebody's going to nail your butt. You know, if you make a stupid statement, they're going to get you. Okay, it's going to like they're going to pound you. Everybody's going to get you. So you learn to talk in proper English.
Hey, do you know what this?
And that's what we.
Right.
Go ahead, Kate.
I was going to say, do you know what this table is? This table is spiritual kindergarten, and it's permanent show and tell. And each and every one of you beautiful essences of the universe are coming with your beautiful toys, and you just are so excited to share them. And
that's exactly what it is.
And that's all this is. We catch ourselves, and it's like, and then it does this trick, and then it does this trick, and you should see when I do this to it, and I feel the energy all the time. You get so caught up in the passions of it, and it's so easy to do that. And then it's, you know, sometimes it can get, okay, we see your toy.
Talking to Richie,
can someone else share a toy now?
The other night reminded me of talking to my old man. It was like a banter time. You know, we just bantered back and forth.
Did you have fun?
It was fucking hilarious.
Oh, I had a blast.
You
know what it is? The contrast. It was meant to happen. Yeah. You see, there's no accidents in the universe here. So whatever it affected, or whoever, you know,
who cares?
Whatever played itself out, it was meant to happen, and it's the contrast. You know, and
it's great energy. You both know who you are.
You guys must have had a field day when I took off.
We had a great time. Great.
All right.
We were pushing buttons you never seen before. You know.
That's the way I can play.
Well, here
I'll sit around the fire and drink a beer with you, and we'll talk shit all night.
Hey, do you know what happens when you guys do that, though? What you're doing is you're blowing off all the charge for all of consciousness when you do that. So have at her. You know, there are some nights that, hey, let's play I Can Be a Bigger Asshole Than You night. Let's play that one some night.
Fuck you.
No one can be a bigger asshole than me.
Oh, they had that game in full force, Kate. They sure did.
Full force. We set off a magnitude 3 another 4.9 X flare.
I was going to say I was probably the 7.2 that came after the 8.3 Chile. Nice job.
Oh
guys.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Unreal. You know, but it is important to know that, and you know, and occasionally I'll get the post of like, "Geez, what happened on this and that?" And I say, "Don't worry about it. Everyone's going to sit around and have a pint afterwards anyway. Just let's get the shit out of us. Get it on the table. I told you this table is for throwing all the shit on, and we're going to pick through and pull all the diamonds out. And we're not going to find the diamonds without
playing their game.
Exactly. We're sorting ourselves out.
We're not playing their game anymore. Yes, it's all our own game. And I had a great time with you, Richie, by the way.
Yeah,
and, there was a lot of laughter in the room, and we all had a fucking fine time. And,
everybody's eyes bugged out. Whoa.
And Colleen, with her little soft voice, she was trying to cut in. She was trying to stop them from talking.
Breathe, Richie.
So funny.
It was beautiful, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was.
Richie called no.
Was that was it Coral that was jumping in? You guys, come on, it's awesome. Anyway, yeah, again, this is the table where you can have at her, and we come back the next night going, that was friggin' awesome. Let's try that another night, you know?
No, Richie reminds me a lot of you, Kate.
He's not that big.
Richie reminds. Yeah, he really is. You know, but you're bigger.
All right, Richie, well done.
No,
hitting with a big
thank you.
Reminds me of you.
Thank you.
He brought out what do you call that? That purple chainsaw shitting thing?
Oh, the unicorn
He
vibrating.
was trying to slice and dice, man. Yeah. And you know, there's only a few times when you've done that, and he caught on to that. And he did a really good job.
Well handled.
And I'm so proud of him. And you, I will have to say this while we're still on the air, so that these millions of encumbrances can listen. Kate, I have to say this honestly. You have done a great job assimilating wonderful information, and you put it forth in a different way than the others that you talk about. You've put it forth in a way that allows people to assimilate themselves, or at least have a cognitive thought about their own thinking. You bring them to the point where they think themselves, and then they bring it back, and you allow them to bring it back and stir it the pot in again. And you know, of all places, and God, I've wanted to stay away from this site for so long, but I keep coming back because you give that quality to it.
Yep.
You give the ability for people to espouse and to at least put their feelings and their emotions out on the table, so that they, not nobody else, so that they can put them out there and stir around with their own finger and make their own potion and decide their own magic.
You.
Yeah.
And that's all this
Kate,
is.
It's magic. Kate, it's magic what you're doing, because he's opening up and hitting that nail right in the head. Because I've done it a couple of I'm not going. I says, am I in the right place? I'm moving on. I'm not going back. I'm not fucking getting on. I'm not getting on that table again, right? Then I take Fluffy and drop kick him, right? Yeah, I drop kick him and fucking hit a 3-pointer, right? And then I come back to my senses, you know, where the real me comes up, and I'm like, no, this is it. This is the place where I'm going to be. I don't care how much fucking Fluffy don't like it, right? He's out in the back shed right now.
It's very addictive, right? You got to be here. You have to.
It's just you know. That's what it is that it's so important, very, very important. Yeah, and it's and it's just, you can't. It's one of those things, right? Like you said, you can't explain it. You know,
listen,
you know.
Hey, Richie, and this is for everybody too. We only got a few minutes left here, but one of the things I really want to share is the most important thing to me in this whole walk was about presenting information that the girl serving coffee at the local diner, the guy driving the truck across the country delivering food, the farmer in the field, the ones that are going through very takedown sort of existences in terms of jobs, so that they can grasp it. It made no point to me to be a legal guru where only those that have the wherewithal could do it. This had to be something for everyone, and that's exactly what my whole intent was for, to make it as simple as I possibly could, so that all of humanity can use it. I don't care at what level anyone is at. And also to have a place for everyone to come to, knowing that their voice will and shall be heard without any preconceived notions. And that being said, of course, any of the shills that come to the table, whatever, the ones I'm talking about, they're already lost anyway. So it's the ones that are really trying to find themselves, help themselves, and in turn help all others in that process. That's what this table's for. And this is a table where we can throw everything you want out there, and yeah, we'll have our little, cat fest and all the rest of it. But it shows us all the unconditional aspect, where we can come back to the table the next night going, oh yeah, that was a good one. You got me with a 1-2 on that one.
Okay, well, before this is over, shut up for a minute, Kate.
Hey, well, one last thing.
This is about over. We only got about 3 minutes left.
Okay, go ahead.
And this is Kate night for me. Okay, this is Kate night for me. I love you and for what you've done, and you have promoted a lot of good people. You've promoted a lot of good ideas and a lot of places to go to get information. But you, and I give this to you unconditionally, and you know this because you know that you and I don't agree on a lot of things. So I give this unconditionally, and I give this tribute to you tonight before this show ends, that you, my friend, have done an exceptional present to those of us who have been here and have been fighting the fight. You went above and beyond, more than I could have ever done. Well more than I could have ever done. And you brought things to me personally, that have made my life a different way.
And vice versa.
And I just give tribute to you tonight, my friend, because that is what you deserve in these last couple of minutes before this thing quits. This fucking shit quits. But it never quits with you and me.
No, it's not good.
I love it, my friend, and I don't want anybody else to say anything but that. It's not a pat on the back. It's a big fucking hug. And
I know exactly what it is. You know my rules about pedestals. See, here at this table, we develop the tools where we can work it out with each other, so that when we are confronted with those that cannot handle truth, we have the means.
Oh, you're no pedestal with me. I will jump on your head.
Fuck. Yeah, I know
bring
that.
You right down. Roll on dirt.
And they are. They're so safe indeed that they don't give a fuck about me, and that's exactly what I didn't expect, but it's exactly what I did expect too. Based on guys, this is a very neutral contrast I'm sharing here. There's no emotion in this. I'm just trying to show you contrast. To take any of that charge that you may have on these things, where so and so did this and so did that, and just lose it. Okay, you're stronger than that. Don't let them break you. Hell, they can't even bend me now. You see, the reason why they can't bend me is because I'm not standing in the storm. I am the storm. I'm the eye of the hurricane. And that's really what people need to be, is they have to be that sense of peace within the center of that hurricane. That we call it physical reality that goes on around us. Let me ask you this. If you were in a literal eye of a hurricane, would you follow the eye of the hurricane? Or would you go running into where all the palm trees and cars and bits of building and cows and everything else are flying around in a flurry, bits of metal and everything else? Would you walk into that explosion? And that's exactly what most of us do. We just can't wait to get involved in somebody else's storm. We can't wait to get involved in somebody else's nightmare. Book of Eli, once again, stay the course, not your concern. You need to be the eye of the hurricane. I had a really cool clue with my Mayan sign, and Kawak, duality Kawak. That's what my Mayan is. Kawak means storm, and it's a beautiful description of exactly how I have lived most of my life and how I choose to live, not to get caught up in the quagmires of other people's nightmares. And of course, the system has done its damnedest to create as many storms around me as possible, ripping out every sense of support, every sense of concern that others may have. I know I've shared all of this stuff and made it very clear. It's like, fine, you want the possessions, knock yourself out. This weekend will be the last delivery to all Judases. I'm completely free and clear of it. And, that's yours. That's your bed. You can lie in it. And it's not like there wasn't any opportunity to, maybe pick up the phone and say, hey, how's it going? Are you alive? So obviously I'm dead, and I've already said that, and I'm cool with that. That's just another growth proof that I have went through my crucifixion, left for dead, and that's cool. And after you're left for dead, what do you have? Well, you only have you left, the real you. And that's the joy of this. That's where you don't get caught up in the dramas and the emotions of it. I've been there. You guys have heard me scream and rant and rave and all the rest of it. Right up to the point where it just kind of hit me. Where it really just hit me, and it was that beautiful moment of, nice contrast. That's where the victim moved out of victim status, caught in the grips of the former non-existent realities, to begin creating a new one called the victor, or the vice of Troy, getting a grip on the reality. And fundamentally, that's the main thing that I see throughout everything. Movies, be it The Passion of the Christ or this recent Hercules or Wanted or any of these things, they're all telling me the same story. And you'll always see a nice trinity of one female, two males, right? You'll always see that trinity working in full swing. There will always be two main males and one main female. Go ahead, look for yourself. You'll see it. It's quite simple. But that being said, where are we going here? Oh, that's right. It was the one I read the other night, Deer System. Lots of other stuff going on around the world, too. Another Chilean earthquakes, another flares and what have you. So things are ramping up nicely, boys and girls. So keep the pressure on. That's all we're doing right now is keeping pressure on. We've already got the game. Now we're just pushing them right off the board. So we have Mystified and Mike. I'll get you guys in, and then I'll do a little read of that. You and your psycho, what did I call it? You and your psychopathy. That's to the system.
Aloha, wholeness. Hey, Mr. Pride.
Hey, Mike. We're rocking tonight.
Yeah, what's up?
I feel it.
Oh. All the fuses are lit tonight, boys and girls. Yep. Oh, yeah, the day of reckoning is here, and I see it wrapping up all around me. Don't let them pull you into their storms. Don't let them pull you into their nightmares. Don't.
Guy Fawkes had nothing on this.
Oh no, this he wanted the Tower of London. I want the planet.
Houses of Parliament.
Yeah, House of Parliament. Whatever. It's just a building. Me, I'll take the universe. Thank you. My reality. Yours, we'll all take it back. It's only yours to take or give away. And that's what we've been doing, giving it away by our willful consent in ignorance of who and what we truly are. Yeah, it was interesting in the Wanted movie when the main character was getting the shit beat out of him. And they were asking him, who are you? Who are you? Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. You'll see the trials and tribulations. You'll see the things that you've been through. And then you will laugh. At least I know I did. I thought, yeah, got it. It's all good. So what else? What's up with you guys?
Yeah, not much. I was going to point out, I think it's probably better to wait until after you're reading. I was just going to say there was a video I watched of one of my earlier, I don't want to say heroes, but he was somebody that I went to a lot for information and one thing another, called the Anti-Terrorist.
Oh, yeah,
He released a video and he was talking to the Kent Freeman Association or Freeman Movement or something like that, and it was surprising that he was actually encouraging people to carry on using the straw man, using the name, but in a different context than what, you know what I mean? I was like, oh God.
Still selling the same shit, are they?
His point was, you might need like electricity and gas and like put fuel in your car, pay your bills, so you do need this currency. That was his point. But I was just shaking my head thinking, God, I cannot believe it. it's kind of like you think somebody's got a lot of the answers, and then you come across them later on when your perception's changed, and it's like, what's going on here? You know, it makes you completely look again.
Well, yeah, you know, here we are. I mean, who gets the gas? Who creates the machines to do that? Who creates the machines to transport it? And I can get into all of this. Look at all the individuals that are actually producing and creating all of this. I've never met a lawyer or a judge on a work site with a a carpenter's apron on. I've certainly never met a banker there, or someone who sells insurance, or someone who pushes paper around, someone who works in the bank, someone, start looking at what you're doing in terms of what you're doing with your life, and what are you actually producing, and are you actually parasiting your income off the backs of another that's producing something that's real? That's called creation. So it really does boil down to that. Now, I'd say the vast majority of people that are in these paper pushing jobs having worshipping whores of Babylon, you and your psychopathy. That one, that's the one I'm going to be. Oops, I put a comma. I meant to put an exclamation mark. Dear system worshipping whores of Babylon. There we go. I like to send things with a bit of a zeal and a zip and a, hey, how's it going? I still haven't decided what I'm going to put in the subject line. But anyway, there's probably about 40 lined up in the email already. I have my other hard drive here, so I have to access that for probably a couple of hundred more anyway. And I'm going to include the Australian government in there too, and a few other things. And I'm done with this nonsense, I draw the line in the sand. Anyone that's still working the legal side, thinking that they're going to have a remedy, I'm exercising all of you from my reality. Because all you're going to do when you're doing that is you're not only harming yourself, but you're making it possible for others to stay duped and be harmed likewise. So that's the greater responsibility we all have. That once you know the truth, once you stand in or see the truth and you don't stand in it, that's not a place that I would want to be, personally. And it's not that fine a line that we walk, guys. It's not. Because you know inherently in your heart. You know. You don't think this. You know it. You feel this. And when you know something to be wrong and you still do it, then you're just being a liar. And that's the lion within you. Right? That was the first labor of Hercules, to kill the lion of Nemea. And isn't it fun that you can rearrange that into I name, the lion of the name. That's the first thing you have to do. And as soon as you do that, that's when your labors really start to kick into gear. Fortunately, we're at a time right now where those labors just flip off like zits getting popped. It wasn't quite so easy a few years back. At least not from my experience, not from my observation. It's entirely up to you. That's a free will choice. You can choose to stand in truth and salvage your very soul and help others do that if that's your wish, to be a light for them. Again, you're not going to spoon feed truth into anybody's universe. All you can do is plant a seed and walk away. And if the seed takes, great. And if it doesn't, great. How many people in your reality do you know to be full of soul and spirit, and how many do you know that are just a bunch of bioborgs, just a bunch of mimicking meat sticks? I go back to the Gravity Falls cartoon series, and the biggest thing that came out of that was flashed every time on the opening credits was trust no one. And I take that completely to heart. And that's why I only trust my heart. And I've gotten better at it. When somebody's got a vested interest, you can feel it. When someone's clinging to you, looking for, savior motif that's been so well ingrained into us through the churches and the schools and all the rest of it. You know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. This is the joke of this. And here I am, once again, repeating the same things I always say. Stand in truth. It shall set you free. All the great masters said it. I took it literally. probably the only thing in this universe that you should take literally, because only then will you find the anagogic side of things and get on from there. But tell you what I'm going to do here, before I read this, I see Mike on the board. I'll crack that mic open and say hi, and then we'll get into having a bit of fun for a little bit more energy exposing of the fear porners. But this is going to be quite something.
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Good evening and welcome to Outside the Box, and let the games begin. Yeah, some interesting times that we're in right now, I'm sure. Yours truly, Kate of Gaia here, my map reference as I like to call it, because I don't have a name. Simply applicable. Here on criticalmassradio.co.uk. Yeah, it's just a couple of recent little posts going down on Facebook here, and I will be sharing that letter again that I touched up a little bit and added a couple of things to it, and it just didn't feel completely done, but I will share it tonight with you guys, and it's already set up in the email to go out. Sorry about, I don't know what happened last night. It's just when the show dropped, all I had was like beeping in my headset from Skype. So obviously the energy was a little bit too much for this physical realm to handle. Par for course. We're used to that, so it's all good. And for any shills that are tuned in, how much is your soul worth? Right, that's right. It's worthless because you don't have one. Yeah, it's part of the program, right? You see, bioborgs, the only thing they understand is money. It's the only thing they go for, and why do you think they want to turn you into one of those anyway? Yeah, I went through, got to tell you, if you get a chance to go through the movie Hercules, The Legend of, I think it's only a couple of years old. Anyway, beautiful portrayal of, what we're doing in this 12 labors of Hercules, if you will. Those that have the eyes to see it, hear it, and the ears to see it and hear it as well. Remember, it's a double cross. You got to see it both ways. But, yeah, a little note there. It looks like two of the top jokesters on the planet, Elizabeth Windsor and Jorge Bergoglio, up to their little tricks as usual, playing the world stage of, oh, look, we have little gifts for each other. They forgot to mention that those gifts that they're sharing back and forth were robbed from the people, you see, the ones that created it. I can't imagine, what was it? Somebody had posted it in Skype, thank you very much. I can't imagine that the Pope gave a stone orb, lapis lazuli, unless he was out in the mines and dug that up by himself, topped with a sharp cross of silver. Of course, he probably didn't go out and refine that himself and form that himself to the new baby, and wine, of course. That of course he grew the grapes and pressed them and knew all about how to make wine, because that's what creators do. And all sorts of things. Betty didn't have a whole lot to do with that, instead just pilfered it. And, of course, that went to quantitative easing 2. Queen Elizabeth 2. Anyway, and she gave him 18 items. Well, thieving bitch. What do we got here? A basket with 2 types of honey that, of course, she went out to the beehives to collect all that herself and refine that. Bar more whiskey, of course, yeah, she did that too. Eggs, well, fuck, for all I know, she could have laid those. Sandringham soap, well, probably made from, I wouldn't go as far as to made from children murdered there. That was just a big hoax that they tried to pull in World War II as well, making soap from human flesh. Yeah, that was a good one. But anyway, what do we got here? Oh, and for those who want to call in the Skype, all you have to do is add BTR021 to your contacts and click on it. That'll bring you into the call if you want to get in here. Anyway, so I thought that was kind of funny. So these are, they talk about being sovereigns and all the rest of it. Here it says 2 sovereigns. There's nothing sovereign about these people. A sovereign doesn't steal. A sovereign isn't a thief, isn't a deceiver. A sovereign isn't one who goes around and shits all over those that do all the creating. A sovereign is most certainly not a ruler. ruler is meant to keep things in a straight line, don't you know? There's nothing free about that. Anyway, it's just a big joke to me. And, you know, there's going to be people out there, oh my God, look at that, you know, and they'll go on to get on their knees and, you know, hunk on their priest Bobo or, you know, suck on the whore of Babylon's tits, Queen Babylon, all the rest of it. I'm just not playing the game anymore, not at this level. No, let the games begin. So there we go. And of course, her favorite breakfast is grilled sole on a bed of Popeye spinach, right? Popey. So there you go. It should tell you everything you need to know in allegorical style. Just spend a little time listening to Bill Donahue today as well. Love getting into that zone with him. And another great movie to get your head around is Wanted, and I posted that link last night. And I think the most important phrase in the entire movie is the last statement that gets made. It's probably about a minute worth of explanation at the very end, and sums it up very nicely about changing the world. What the fuck are you doing? Right? If you want to see how you are changing the world, and you can check this out in real time. It's really simple. Just Google your own map reference, formerly referred to as a name, which it no longer is. And if you have any problems with, you know, walking around with a tag that someone else put on you that you consent to be, knowing full well that it has been sold in a spiritual contract to the whores of Babylon, then feel free. Don't feel that you're strong enough to actually pick a name for yourself and decide to be that. Don't feel any need to actually be all grown up and do something as crazy as that. You know, what will everybody think? What will all the other lemmings think and do? You should try doing it from the transgender perspective. It used to make me laugh when transgender people go out and change their name legally. Out of the frying pan into the fire. Love it. Anyway. I look at that the same way as I look at gays wanting to give up their purity of just being together to get the legal right to be married, so they can get the legal right to be enslaved and the legal right to take the blood drippings from the systems that they have been fighting against. It's so oxymoronic. It's mind blowing. So toss things in the mirror and have a look at them. But really, if you're that afraid to dare to give yourself your own name, that run away. It is that simple, by the way. Because the minute you decide that you're not one thing, you're not one thing, right? You're all things. And that's the power of the choice that we all have. I just happen to make my choice. And, many of you know my story. It's been an ongoing bit of a drama for the last, 4 years anyway, for sure. So I really didn't get into this game until January 13th, 2010. I made my call to say, I'm done with this shit. I'm going to walk this course instead. The one of truth, by the way. And my deal was simple. I will stand at truth at all costs, regardless of consequence. And I did just ask to keep my family and others safe. That was all I was concerned with.